Hey, what's up, everybody? If you appreciate the format and you appreciate what we're doing here, then make sure you contribute to the Cash App, make sure you contribute to the PayPal, make sure you donate to the Super Chat. It's only you and your contributions that keep this thing going. Thanks. Hey, if you're enjoying the content here at Dennis Sperling Unfiltered, make sure you support it by sharing, and subscribing to the channel. And also, hit that little notification bell in the corner so that you'll get notice of each and every one of our live feeds. The only time black men are allowed to speak is when it benefits others. So hey, this is your opportunity to speak. I want to hear from you. And if you want to make this voice louder and clearer, then what you need to do is contribute to the Cash App, the PayPal, and the Super Chat. I appreciate you.
What's up?
Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Dennis Sperling, and I am back today to talk to you about a hit piece launched by the Grio and its writer, Eartha Hopkins. I want to address the Black Feminist talking points in that. I consider this a direct attack on Black masculinity and truth. And so because of that, I want to make sure we make it a point to discuss this. This is the article. I have it linked below, and you guys can check it out at will. Nevertheless, here's the thing I want you guys to understand. Mr. Kevin Samuels is a phenomenon, and he is wreaking havoc on the status quo. He has taken the Black Manosphere talking points, and what he has done with those Black Manosphere talking points is that he has taken them to the mainstream to challenge the status quo. And in doing so, he's formed a perfect wrecking ball and is completely destroying all the negative tropes and stereotypes about Black male-female dating preferences. It's no longer just Black men's fault. So, of course, the Grio, a Black female-centered feminist organization or online newspaper source or online news source, would generate a hit piece in an attempt to disparage and distort Mr. Samuels' message. In this contrivance, Eartha Hopkins refers to the NFL greats, Emmit Smith and Barry Sanders, as linebackers. This in itself should remind Black men why Black women's opinions on Black men's perspectives, thoughts, and viewpoints should be ignored. Because why? Largely, Black women are missing the facts and experiences that Black men have had in their lives and thus do not know what they're talking about. Eartha Hopkins, who seeks to qualify or disqualify Mr. Kevin Samuels herself, is a self-professed beauty editor and a journalist. We'll read a little bit more about her, but I'm keen on the term misogynoir that she uses in her writing. It's a combination of the term misogynist and noir, which is a French word for Black, invented by Black feminists, and it lets me know where she's coming from. Eartha throws in all the well-worn, unexplained catchphrases, including but not limited to the incarceration rate, white male standards, and then uses the white supremacist environment as a catch-all. So what we're going to do at this point is we're just going to analyze her writing, because I don't necessarily know this individual, but I do know them by their writing. I know who we're dealing with based on what I read. Now, I'm not going to go through the time. I'm not going to take the time to read her article. You can read it. But what I am going to do is take the opportunity to analyze the article and the major sections of it that I believe are important. So what I want you all to do is, if you appreciate what I'm doing, make sure you contribute to the Super Chat, the Cash App, and the PayPal. Make sure you get the like button. This is a respectful format. This is a respectful platform. I don't want to see any derogatory or disparaging comments made about either Miss Eartha Hopkins, who's a writer at the Grio, or Mr. Kevin Samuels. We are respectful here. Let's make sure we are respectful at all times. No disparaging marks. We are simply here to analyze what was said. Now, that said, the title is called How Pseudo-Love Guru Kevin Samuels Exploits the Vulnerability of Black Women. And she refers to him as a YouTube sensation and self-appointed professional image consultant. This indicates to the reader that he hasn't been legitimized by the white power structure, thereby off top, she's undermining his credibility. Her comments, unrealistic expectations, Samuels maintains, the market defines a high value man by 6 core principles. Now, here's the thing. A truly radical feminist view would point out that these women are actually objectifying men because they are saying only 10% of men who make a certain dollar amount are worthy of having a family, a wife. So she's wrong in that regard. Now, in his show, or in Mr. Samuel's show, women are actually the consumers of high value men, and they are made the commodity. And so this is counter to the traditional narrative of female objectivity, where men are the consumers of female sexuality. Now, there's a book called The Cyber Marriage in Citizenship, Love and Empire by Felicity Schaefer. What it does is it talks about the industry between Latin American women and white American men. And the book surprisingly follows the agency of third world women who basically are looking for white American men. And it basically points out the same thing. It gives them agency. And here, this woman is basically stripping the agency away from Black women and saying, oh no, they're being objectified, when in actuality, they're the ones doing the objectification. See, we can't simply say that Black women are being oppressed in their pursuit of love and marriage if they're following their biological imperative of hypergamy, which is what women all around the world do. In other words, they're looking for the highest quality male. And all Mr. Samuels is doing is telling them what these high quality men, or high value men, as he calls them, what they want. And so that they can either assess themselves and determine if they meet that criteria or if they don't qualify. That's all Mr. Samuels is doing. But at the end of the day, these women, not the men, are objectifying. The women are objectifying men, not men objectifying women on his platform. Now, here's some other stuff. She refers to his comments as slick tongue. Now, this suggests to the reader that Mr. Samuels, a 50-something-year-old man, is nothing more than an adolescent boy capping or shooting the dozens on an elementary schoolyard. This is an attempt to undermine his maturity, his masculinity, and his adulthood, and take away his life experience. She's trying to sun him, as they say on the East Coast, and make him look like a child, thereby undermining his credibility. She might as well have come out and just called him boy, as it was used by white racists who use that term to demean and denigrate even grown Black men. Now, she also says this: his platform opens a space for much needed conversations addressing women's accountability and relationships. However, his framework is rooted in imperialist worldview and subtly reinforces anti-Blackness. Basically, what he's saying is that Mr. Samuel promotes assimilation as to white ideals. Basically, white ideals being middle class. In other words, you're talking white. We've heard that back in the, you acting white, you're talking white. This is basically what she's against. She's saying that Black women should, she's saying that Black women should conform to white ideals, or she's saying that he's saying that Black women should conform to white ideals of marriage, allow their men who are high value to have side chicks and mistresses to conform with white ideals and beauty. The problem with that is, or what that does is, the question we have to ask ourselves is this really a white ideal, or is this something that's been part of human nature since the beginning of time? Haven't men with more resources, more prosperity, haven't they always had their pick and choose of women? We can look in the Bible and see examples of successful men who take multiple wives and mistresses and concubines. So this is not something that's germane to the white American community. It's been going on since the beginning of time. What this is a veiled attempt to demonize Mr. Samuels and basically blame it on Africa. All right, this is basically what she's trying to do. She's trying to say, oh, this is not something that we did in Africa, when in actuality, that's not true. She's inferring that Africans or African culture this is another thing she's doing. She's also inferring by saying that he's asking Black women to conform to white ideals of beauty. She's inferring that African, and this is particular as it has to do with weight, inferring that Africans or African culture allow women to be obese or out of shape and belligerent and disrespectful, and therefore asking Black women to be slender, shapely, cooperative, pleasant to be around, is somehow asking them to assimilate into white ideals. Even merely asking them to smile is causing for them or asking them to assimilate, which is a ridiculous notion. But this is her article. This is what it says. Now, the thing is, if you careful review of West African culture and history indicates that African women were largely feminine, slender, and cooperative. We had queens, we had beautiful princesses, we had all these beautiful women who were cooperative, and societies existed there for thousands of years before human beings, or before any other race or group of men emerged on this planet. So that's just preposterous. This is more of the blame Africa, as if Africa was as dysfunctional for those thousands of years as Black American culture is right now. Here's another one. She attempts to demonize Kevin Samuels' metrics for establishing what a high value man is. And she uses a statement, the caveat, this is her statement, the caveat is that his definition makes former Vice President Donald Trump look like a promising suitor. Now, by associating high value man with Donald Trump, who is disliked by the majority of African Americans who voted Democrat, she's attempting to sway the readers by pulling on or using a red herring. It has no merit on this subject. Now, notwithstanding, she indicates that the former President Donald Trump was the vice president, which means that they need to do something about their editing over there at the Grio, because he was clearly the president. She ignores the fact that 64% of Black men are in the middle class, and 20% of those of Black men are also high class or upper middle class or rich. And so at that point, these men are high value. These men have money. These men have a rising standard. They're not just going to take anything. And in doing so, she discounts and throws away the high value Black men who are doctors, lawyers, engineers, business owners, like even plumbers and whatnot, electricians, people who own their business, of which Mr. Kevin Samuels is a part of. Now, here's another thing she says. She states that the following, and this attacks his expertise, quote unquote, false expertise. Another problematic aspect of Samuel's premise is the fact that he is claiming expertise on a topic that he is clearly unqualified to address. What does she base this on? She bases this on the fact that Mr. Samuels, by education at, I believe, Oklahoma State University, is an engineer. At the point where so here's the thing you got to understand. At the point where she questions his qualifications by stating he had not studied psychology or women's studies or gender studies or, I don't know, family structured environments in modern time, whatever. She's basically acting as an agent of white supremacy. Because she's attempting to discredit him because he didn't get his degree from an institution or a platform through a major network. She's upholding an imperialistic worldview of neocolonialism by doing that, because she's implying that he needs to be qualified by master in order to speak on the subject that concerning Black people. This totally disregards his life experience, his work ethic, and basically calls him a Black hotep or unqualified. A hotep being a derogatory term often used, but it's actually derived from Imhotep. But in the form of calling a person a Black hotep is someone who gets a little carried away with their support for Afrocentrism and has taken a broad variety of conspiracy theories and pseudo crypto history and connected it but basically she's just saying he's unqualified to do it. She's basically calling him a hotep. Now, ironically, in calling him a supremacist, or, you know, basically saying he's anti-black or self-hater, which he does, which she calls him later on in her article, she in actuality is upholding white supremacist notions of the way black people, basically saying the way black people do things on their own terms is illegitimate, and thus forcing them to go through a system, an institution of white supremacy in order to be legitimized. In other words, they haven't had NASA stamp of approval. And so he's not doing it the right way. So in fact, she's actually acting as a gatekeeper and say, hey, he didn't come in through the gate, and therefore he's not qualified. Now here's something else she does. She states in one video, Samuels compares black women's physique to a former NFL linebackers, Emmett Smith and Barry Sanders. Now we all know that Emmett Smith and Barry Sanders were running backs. You know, it just lets you know that nobody looked this over. She basically just wrote this out and threw it in there. So it's not really well thought out, but the fact that it's out there in the media, the fact that it's out there for everybody to see means that we as black men have to address it. But she specifically is upset by the fact that he compares their weight to that weight of black women, and he says you're as big as a football player. All right. Now this is best explained, right? And I'm talking about the obesity situation. This is best explained by explaining to you all the victim goddess complex, which is something I'm going to address later on here. I'm going to talk about this later on this week, but basically the victim goddess complex. All right. In the black community, the black woman is both the victim and the goddess, right? She's a goddess because by her perspective and how she was trained in the black community, culturally speaking, she thinks you're lucky to have me in your presence, as you are beneath me and I'm really settling for you. And any fault and I'm above fault and above criticism. Well, in addition to that, she also maintains the victim status by saying I'm the double minority subject to both racial discrimination and oppression and sexual harassment and exploitation. Therefore, not only am I entitled to the double portion of subsidies and entitlements and programs and set-asides, but if you criticize me, then you're a bully, you're a misogynist, you're a chauvinist, and it's also considered victim shaming, and you're now part of the oppressive class, i.e., black men are the white people of black people because we have critiques and criticism, even though they're allowed to criticize us indiscriminately, and we can't do the same in that respond to them. Now, how does this apply? It applies to obesity in basically the obesity acceptance push. Whether or not I'm obese, and here's a perspective, whether or not I'm obese or not doesn't matter, because I maintain the goddess status. And therefore, you are lucky to be in my presence because you are beneath me. So it doesn't matter how big I am. It doesn't matter how fat I am, how overweight I am, how unhealthy I am. It doesn't even matter how many kids I have. But we'll deal with that another day. And so because you're lucky, because again, I'm the goddess and you're beneath me, you're there just to worship me. This is the goddess perspective. Furthermore, they also maintain the victim status in that I am only obese because of white supremacy racism. I'm only obese because of the poor food sources that I limited for the bad food. This is my reason. I'm obese because of this. Now, this flies in the face of the fact that many of our African sisters in the motherland, they are live in third world countries, so we say, or at least developed countries is the term I prefer. And they actually would be considered eating poor quality food compared to what we eat. But nevertheless, they're still slender, they're still skinny. So this is really just a shield used to block criticism. And the victim goddess status comes into place in that it helps women deflect. It helps them always be right. As Mr. Kevin Samuels, I think he calls it shame, guilt, and need to be right. He uses that term. That's his. I'll attribute that to him. But basically, this helps them perform that. Now, the way that has developed is because in the black community, we as black men are simps, and this is something we do. We have been taught to promote Black women, and they can do no wrong. So that is part and parcel our fault. They have not had a reality wake-up call. And so Mr. Kevin Samuels, in speaking this truth and speaking honestly as to what men really think, is a jolt to their system. Now, here's something else she says. She says that this tough love advice oozes of misogynoir. And remember, we talked about that term misogynoir. She uses that term. It's a combination of misogynist and Black. The term noir meaning Black, and it was invented by Black feminists. But here's what she said: this tough love advice oozes misogynoir, applying a historically racist and westernized view of beauty that only serves to demean Black women. Again, her argument is a blame it on Africa argument. She goes on, basically what she's saying is that these beauty standards of being slender, of being fit, not even slender, but being fit and cooperative, and smile and the smile, that she said, no, that's European. That's a westernized view. It's not. It's not. It's just they're using that excuse and they're blaming Africa. When you go to West Africa, and even if you look at the time in which our people were taken pre-19th century, the women were physically fit. The women were beautiful. Hell, if you go to the 1950s here in the United States, the women were physically fit. So that's just, that whole blame it on Africa argument needs to be thrown out the window with the baby bath. Here's what else she says. She goes on to write, but it's unable to properly acknowledge white supremacy as a driving force behind this divisiveness. Instead, he plays a trope role of agonist against Black women. In other words, she's saying blame it on, he should be blaming this on white supremacy, as opposed to pointing out this divisiveness on white, when in actuality, that's not the source of it. See, the source of the divisiveness is not white supremacy racism, which feminists, Black feminists especially, like to use as a catch-all. The source of the divisiveness is the gender war that has been brewing in the Black community for the past 50 years. See, it hadn't been until the past 10 years when Black men were given an unfiltered, unencumbered method of speaking to the masses, each other over the internet via YouTube, Facebook, and other social media platforms. And we have begun to speak. Prior to that, it was a one-sided tongue lashing put upon us by our lovely ladies who have had the opportunity to use all forms of media and communication to lambaste and bash Black men unapologetically without any countervailing points being made. Because basically the mass media just locked us out. Whether it was The Color Purple, name all the movies, fellas. You guys know the movies. My God, Stella's Got a Groove Back, all the whole series of Tyler Perry movies, right? All of them bashing Black men. See, this is what we've had to deal with. But now, in the past 10 years, Black men have been able to speak up for themselves, and as a result, they don't like it. So, as a result of the special position of goddess in the Black community, they are now in misbelief, right? They can't believe we're really saying these things. Because remember, they're not used to this. And so, you challenging the goddess is like basically like speaking, it's like speaking blasphemy against God, but see, because they have these egos that are enhanced by the Black community, that is enhanced by our culture. You Black men play a part in it. The simping that you do, oh baby, you beautiful, you can do no wrong, you're a queen, mother goddess. You have Black women like Lizzo who leave the community and think that they have a high enough social status and sexual marketplace value that they can attract a Captain America-esque white actor because she really thinks she has a shot. And that's just not true. What goes on in the Black community is simple, it is special. It doesn't translate outside the community. Nevertheless, they have been made to believe that they are supreme beings and can do no wrong, and that because they've been convinced by themselves or been convinced in the echo chamber, of the Black community, Ebony, Jet magazine, go queen, whatever. Most beautiful, they're the most beautiful, most desired women on earth that have ever existed. And, you know, and that's just flat out egotistical, and they're wrong, and it's becoming apparent. It was one thing for them to say, oh, the white man and his standards of beauty are unfair, but now you have black men like Kevin Samuels pointing out that, hey, black men have desires and wants and standards too, and they don't like it. The truth is the average black American woman thinks she's better than the average black American man. Moreover, she believes that she's settling for him. Even if she's average and he's average, she believes she deserves better. This is something that Mr. Kevin Samuels is pointing out to them. Now, why? Because black society has taught her that she's the queen mother goddess. And unfortunately, we have enough simps and preachers and false prophets in the black community that make hundreds of thousands of dollars a year, millions of dollars a year, reinforcing these misguided notions. So at this point, these lovely ladies are receiving a wake-up call. So now, where are we? The thing is, you know, she is in a situation where the Grio, they have to try to come up and they'd have to try to defend the status quo, but it's failing. Now, I know it's failing, and you know she lost the argument because if you look down into the article more, she begins a personal attack against Mr. Samuels. What does she do? She calls Kevin Samuels a poster child for a group of black men in dire need of love and acceptance from the world. This reeks of, what else does she say? She says, this reeks of projectionism, in my opinion. And the question is, I would ask is who raised these men and why are they in need of love and acceptance? And the answer is their mothers raised them. Their black mothers raised them. And according to the metrics, their black mothers over the past 50 years have failed in this regard. Now, what else does she say? She says his bootstraps and rhetoric screams pick me from white men who clearly have no interest in doing so. So what does that mean? This means that because he advocates on behalf of assimilation into the dominant society through grooming, education, and self-care, he's a pick me, which is a term used to deride women who want to play the traditional role in the family and indicates that Miss Eartha Hopkins is herself an anti-woman sexist. That she doesn't believe that women have the agency or wherewithal to pick the role that they want to play in the household or in a relationship. So shame on you, Eartha. Now, here's another one she hits him with. She says he serves as an Uncle Ruckus. He serves Uncle Ruckus vibes on a platter using every statistic he can to find and project his own internalized self-hatred. So this, in my opinion, is a pure cop-out. She's unable to find anything tangible to refute Mr. Kevin Samuels' arguments. And so now Ms. Eartha Hopkins reduces this conversation to name calling, i.e. labeling Mr. Kevin Samuels a self-hater. Basically, she's saying he doesn't like black people. And this doesn't take into account all the black couples that he's helped unite, including myself. This does not take into account all the marriages that he's helped save. In fact, it would seem the person who is truly the self-hater, right? The person who hates black people would be the one who's trying to prevent Mr. Kevin Samuels from continue doing his work because he's the one bringing people together. Now, here's another thing, or what Mr. Samuels is specifically doing is he's making realistic assessments for these women based on their image and their current relationship status and whether they have children or not and their income and their education. He's basically lowering Black American women's unrealistic, delusional expectations for what they should expect in a mate. And thus, he's helping them find suitable mates and so that they don't feel like they're missing out on anything. They're settling for less than they could based on their sexual marketplace value, which she basically said is his term, but which has actually been floating around the manosphere for about the past 10 years. So that just shows that she's done a lack of research. Now, here is something else she said that I take very seriously. You know, she says it's absolutely egregious and dangerous. These are the terms that she used to address Mr. Kevin Samuels. It's absolutely egregious or dangerous that this man, right? So she dehumanized him by referring to him as this man who has been on the planet for more than half a century would proudly encourage assimilation as a viable solution to the relationship woes between black men and women, or black women and men of today. Here's the thing. The true villain here is female hypergamy, in that women seek the highest quality male available based on what they bring to the table. Unfortunately, and as I said earlier, black women, because of their unique perspective and their overvaluation that's homegrown in the black community, you know, they have both the goddess and the victim complex. And so any criticism is treated as blasphemy and is considered oppression at the same time. And it is also treated as though it's dangerous and shameful. So all Kevin Samuels is doing is helping, he's slicing through that ego and showing them and telling them, no, sweetheart, let me hold this mirror up for you. This is what you have. This is what you actually bring to the table, that a man counts. I like a certain kind of food. I like chicken. I like rice. I like potatoes. If you can cook steak, that's great. I don't want steak. I like chicken, rice, and potato. Doesn't matter that you can make homemade pecan pie. I like chicken. I like rice. You know, this is what I like. And so basically he's telling the things that you think you bring to the table that men want, they don't want. So that doesn't count. On top of that, you don't just get a gimme just because you're a black American woman. Mr. Kevin Samuels is the uncle that we all need. He is the godfather, as they call him, that we all need. And so next thing she does is she tries to attack that. If he's the godfather responsible for leading the new wave of black masculinity, it would seem odd that the first victims would be black women, who even today are the greatest allies. Now, see, this is just patently false. Black women have been using the system of white supremacy and its institutions to emasculate black men and separate them from their fathers, separate the fathers from the children. They use the family court system, the child support system, the police. Hell, black women own more slaves back during slavery than black men. Of the black slave owners, the majority of them were black women. And so and they got there by using their sexuality. They got there by having relationships with the oppressors, the white men, have their babies, inherit some wealth. Some of them accumulated wealth and continued on. This is not me. There are books out there. I've done shows on it. Look in the catalog. Here's another thing. You got to understand, it's black women who call white men to put black men in check and correct them or beat them or shoot them like children, or correct them, when he's not doing something she feels he needs to be doing. And as far as race loyalty, these lovely ladies have not been loyal to us either on this continent or on an African continent. It's just not true. Now, I find it interesting, and I want to take some time to look at this. And if you guys appreciate what I'm doing, make sure you contribute to the Super Chat, the Cash App, and the PayPal. I want to go into some detail because this lovely lady basically tries to disqualify Mr. Kevin Samuels based on his education. And I want to bring some stuff up, and I want to talk to you guys about her qualifications. Now, she basically is saying that, he doesn't have a degree in women's studies. He's not qualified to talk about this. Now, the thing you got to understand is she is clearly not a radical feminist, because a radical feminist would ask women to take agency for what they've done. And so, my question now is, who is she to even talk about Kevin Samuels? Who is she to even bring up the fact as to whether or not he's qualified? Since she wants to play that game, here's what we know about Miss Eartha Hopkins. She's a graduate of Ohio State, and she graduated with a Bachelor of Journalism that she got from Ohio State, where she attended from 2007 to 2012. Now, if we look through her LinkedIn page, because she made it a point to bring up his LinkedIn page, she's been self-employed for 7 years, which means she's been writing. Before that, she had a beauty and personal care copywriter, digital content marketing specialist, beauty and lifestyle reporter, business associate, chief communications officer at the Red Zone. I don't see anything in here about woman studies. I don't see any of her publications that indicate that she's done relationship forums or studied anything having to do with black male and female relationships. And no, she doesn't even have a PhD. She just has 1 degree from journalism from Ohio State University. She didn't even go to a black college. So what I'm trying to say, fellas, is that for her to challenge this man's qualifications, right? Who is she to challenge his educational qualifications when she doesn't have the educational qualifications to even challenge him? This is where we are, right? But this, again, is a hit piece, is something that just was put out there just because what? As the people are saying in the chat room, we're hitting their pockets. We're upsetting the status quo. This is what's happening. Now, that's pretty much all I have to say on my opening salvo. I would like for you all, anybody who has anything else to say, I know there are plenty of folks who have plenty to say. I'm going to start opening the chat room up in a second. I want to hit some more points. I actually had an opportunity to post this up on the internet on my page, and I originally learned about this from the Grio, which was a link which was posted on the comedian D.L. Hughley's page. And, you know, they have several comments and the people are not happy. One guy named Unc Tommy said, lies, let's let y'all read what the people are saying. So it's not just me pointing out the fact that this is foolishness, but it's also other folks. My man said, Unc Tommy said, lies will make you feel good. Derek Jackson, the truth 90% of the time will hurt your feelings. Kevin Samuels, now you know why men lie so much. Women can't handle the truth. You see what I'm saying? Now check this out. Do you mean how these women voluntarily line up to take down Kevin and end up utterly embarrassing themselves? This is what the brothers are saying. So this is not the response, fellas. What we're finding is that black men are stepping up and basically saying enough is enough. We're not going to sit here and take this bashing anymore. Now presented with the opportunity to speak up for ourselves, we will. And that's what these brothers are doing. And I commend you on that. Now, I want to be respectful. We don't want to call names. We don't want to disrespect this woman. We don't want to use derogatory names about this woman. We are simply attacking her journalism and her use of used up phraseology that doesn't apply. The link is in the chat room. I'd love to hear from you guys. So go ahead and chime on in if you have something to say. Again, I don't even think she's qualified to talk about, you know, Kevin Samuels and the work he does, because first of all, if she started college in 2007 and finished in 2012, we got to assume this woman is barely in her 30s. And she, you know, what does she know that this 50-year-old man doesn't know? That's what I'm saying. And so by her calling him these names, like telling him noting that in her opinion, his comments are slick, what does that say about her? What does that say about, what is she trying to say? She's implying that he's like some schoolyard kid. That's disrespectful and insulting on her part. So, you know, these are things that we need to address. So you guys, what we're going to do is take your time, enter into the chat room. Let's see who we got coming up. Make sure if you appreciate what we're doing, we got 429 people in the chat room. And we have, let's see how many, I want to make sure we get the likes up. Hit the like button if you appreciate what we're doing. Make sure you hit the like button. Show your appreciation for what's going on by hitting the like button. That's the best way to do it. Also, if you appreciate what I'm doing, hit the #1 button. And again, contribute to the Super Chat, the Cash App, and the PayPal. All right, Hassan, Roger, James, Afro Patriarchy. What's up, guys? How you guys doing today?
Doing good, doing good.
Doing good,
right,
brother. Doing good.
I'm all right.
I'm excited for this.
All right. Well, first up, let me see. We got James first up. What you got to say, man? Your thoughts.
Shout out to the panel. Love y'all, brothers, as well as you, brother D. I'm at a point right now. I don't think this is a gender war issue.
What do you think about the article that was written? That's why I want to stay focused. What do you think about this article?
This is what I'm leading up to. It seems like they're trying to make it seem like black men are incompetent.
Mm-hmm.
And this is the thing that I continuously see over, you know, my period in my lifetime, where you have these particular women that pose as these, you know, they exaggerate their education, what they know. And then when you ask, you know, direct questions, or you pull up, you know, their bios, or as you did, they really are just, it's like, it's fluff, right? And then as men, we have, and I think many brothers have gone this direction. Now we're asking real direct questions.
Right.
Like we don't need the exaggeration. We don't need the lectures, right? Because it's at this point, it's done. We're tired of it. So, and this is the thing why I say they must really think black men are truly incompetent, because this narrative keeps, it's like they're holding on to something that doesn't exist. And that's to the point.
What do you think about her referring to Kevin Samuels as a YouTube sensation and self-appointed professional image consultant? I basically said that she, you know, she's indicating that he hasn't been legitimized by the white power structure and thereby undermining his credibility. What do you think about her use of that term?
Well, that says everything about who she is, right? Because it just shows how she's trying to hold on to that white power structure leash. That's the only way she can identify herself. She can't go through, she can't have the public opinion within our community to say, you know what, I agree with that, agree with what she is saying. Because it's obviously that many black men agree with Kevin Samuels is saying. And it's not like this is you know, this is brand new. We've been having these conversations for 50, 60 years. So it just goes back to like I've said before, they must really think black men in this day and age are truly incompetent. Because to have all the information that you present, Kevin presents, many other men that present, and then you have the statistical data, you have all the resources to really affirm our stance, and to continuously, because one man speaks his opinion and many men agree, right? That to say that, he's a sensation, he's a one-hit wonder. This is not a music video anymore. This is reality.
Yeah. Appreciate it. What do you think, Roger, and anybody else who wants to join in, welcome to join in. What do you think about her saying that he uses his platform, Roger, to basically promote white ideals of beauty? It seems as though she's saying white ideals of beauty are slender and cooperative, and she said that's germane to white people. That's not something we had back in Africa. My argument, that's a back to Africa argument. And I know enough Africans and have done enough African studies to realize that that's not a back to Africa argument. What are your thoughts on that argument?
Well, to quote Kevin Samuels, signs, shame, insult, guilt, and need to be right. This is just that whole article just went down that whole entire list that Kevin Samuels gave us. Now, I'm glad that Kevin Samuel is having his success. And the main reason why all of these females are really mad at Kevin Samuel and they're really harping on him so bad, because they can't destroy him because he's being backed by men, not by females.
All right. Now I want you to, and I agree with that. And I want you, and it's not something he ain't making a phone call and people are doing this. We're doing this on our own. But again, I want to stick straight to the point. She basically says he uses his platform and opens a space for much needed conversations addressing women's accountability and relationships. However, his framework is rooted in imperialist worldview and subtly reinforces anti-blackness. What she's implying is that blackness is synonymous with obesity. Blackness is synonymous with difficulty, hard to get along with, obnoxiousness. That's what she's saying. So what are your thoughts on that? This is basically saying blackness, which comes from Africa. This is an anti-blackness move. This is an anti-African. This is not our culture. That's basically what you're saying. What are your thoughts on that?
Again, this is moving up the goalposts. This is just every time we trying to, let's move the goalposts. Now this is not black culture. I mean, my question to her is, what exactly do they believe female need to be like? What is the standard? You get what I'm saying?
I know, but specifically, anybody want to address that? Because this is one of those back to Africa. This is not what we traditionally do. This is not what we traditionally do. This is again.
I'd love to answer that.
Okay, go.
I would too.
Okay, because I want to. I want to stick to this article. I want to talk specifically about her words and what she stated. And she's basically saying that this is what Kevin Samuels preaches is anti-Black, even to the point where she says it is anti-Black to want to assimilate into the dominant society, of which the vast majority of us have done. Go ahead, Afro Patriarch.
I think that I'm coming from a different lens because I'm Haitian,
Right.
So Haitian descent. So my Black is still Black, but it's just different. It's a different style of Black.
Well, in your opinion, is it anti-Black to is Blackness associated with obese women?
Nope.
Because that's what she took umbrage with.
No. To me, it's just culture. It's just culture. But
I'm gonna ask you again. I want a specific answer. Are African women are known around the world for being obese?
No.
Okay,
nope.
So why is it anti-Black to want a woman who's slender or physically fit?
It's anti-Black to expect a Black woman to have any accountability or to try to make herself attractive to us in any way. That's where she's coming from. It isn't an aesthetic standard. It's how dare you tell me that I have to be fine the way the white man tells his woman she has to be fine. That's where that's coming from. It's about accountability.
Lockett, why is that? Why is it that we as Black men cannot tell Black women what we want? Because
the Black woman has been elevated through media and everything else as being the representative of our race, and we've been represented as though we need the Black woman to think for us and to speak for us and to stand up for us and everything.
Is it fair to say, and as I said earlier, she's the goddess of the Black community. Right. She's the Queen Mother goddess.
Right.
Now that she maintains that position and simultaneously maintains the victim status. So that's why I call it the victim goddess status. How does she also say, well, I'm also, not only am I the Queen Mother goddess who can do no wrong, strong, independent, don't need a man, but I'm also the biggest victim. I'm the least protected woman in the world, least protected woman in America. And so by talking to, I'm a double minority. I've been oppressed by racism. I've also been oppressed by sexism. And so you can't say anything bad about me, or I'm going to label you the white man of Black people. How does that work, Devin Lockett? How can she also be the victim and then also the goddess? Explain that.
They were taught by the best. I mean, I'm just going to lay it out there. As unpopular as what I'm about to say might be, they were taught by the Jews. The Jews have. I don't want to. That's not.
Okay. Well, what we want to talk about is why is it that Black women, because see, they've been maintaining this position, right, since the 1950s. They are both the biggest victims and they're also goddesses. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And here's the thing. We as Black men help them. We cater to them. We are simps. We allow it to happen. Other men around the world, they put an end to that immediately. You see what I'm saying? I don't care how cute you are. You better get in there and you lose some weight. You better do what you got to do. We allow that. So what part of it do we play, Devin, or anybody? We kind of going out of order here. Let me come back to you in a minute, Devin. We're going to go to Roger, Face Facts, Hassan, Afro Patriarch, and then Eric Hudson. Roger, finish up what you were saying, and then we're going to go to Face Facts.
No, go ahead, Mr. Face Facts. He could chime in on this one. I'm just still.
Go ahead, Face Facts. What are your thoughts on her attacking Kevin Samuels, basically saying he has a false expertise when she herself is merely a journalist? What are your thoughts on that?
Well, like he always says on his platform, and like some of the other brothers have said, it's the shame, the insults, the guilt, and the need to be right. When I see that piece, what I basically see is it's kind of like dealing with a drowning person. When someone's drowning, they're 100% irrational. They'll claw, and they'll actually even pull you under if you're not careful. What it is these people, when they try to say that he's anti-Black or he's invested in like imperialism, what they're really saying is that they're better than the failure. But
isn't she really the racist? Isn't she really the imperialist by requiring him to run through the gauntlet of what white folks say is a proper education? Why can't he rely on his experience as a Black man? Why can't he rely on his wisdom from age and his education and his interactions with black men to speak on behalf of what black men want. Why does he have to be qualified by the white man's institution when in fact she's not? Because she doesn't have a degree in womanist studies. She doesn't have a degree in sociology, psychology, African history, but she's talking about what's black and what's not black and what's proper interaction, what's not. How does that happen, Face Facts?
Well, it happens from basically what it is a black man is not allowed to challenge the status quo. Where I'm going to say this, and this is going to sound bad, but it needs to be said. Black women comfortable with black people being at the bottom as long as they're slightly ahead of black men.
Hey, that's the truth, brother. Shout out to you. Thank you so much, and you've said a lot. Hassan McMillan, how are you today, sir? Please unmute yourself. What are your thoughts on this conversation?
Well, hello, sir.
Yes, sir. How are you?
I'm good. How are you? Listen, from what I've heard about her article, she reminds me of my father used to say about using weasel words to illustrate her point to destroy black men at 50 feet and even 100 feet away. And she's doing it in such a way to make it seem like she's caring about what the black man goes through, but quiet as kept, she doesn't give a damn what we're going through. And she made that explicitly clear, trying to discredit Kevin Samuels. The reason why they're mad at Kevin Samuels, because this brother got a nerve to wear a suit, have a freshly minted fade, and he looks, precise and elegant, and he breaks down their points to where they can't argue. And every time you catch the black woman, when they can't beatbox their way out of it, they're gonna fight them. So, and these attacks have not decreased; they've increased.
Right.
They even went over to the Breakfast Club. They went over to all these other people trying to attack him. Matter of fact, that I believe that a young lady called into the Breakfast Club last week trying to make Mr. Samuels donkey of the day.
Yeah, we go ahead, sir. Yes, sir.
That's all right. But the thing about it is, I think the reason why these ladies are getting so upset because a lot of brothers, like you said, has been standing up saying, "Hey, man, he's saying the right thing. Why are you getting upset with this?" Ladies talk about how much they want truth and how important. Just keep it real with me. Tell me the truth. Okay, I'm gonna tell you the truth, and now you want to fight me on it. Because if I'm out of shape, no brother's got no problem telling me, "Hey, man, you need to get in the gym and work that out, brother. You need to get your money up. You need to get your weight up. You need to get yourself together." Meanwhile, I tell a woman that these women called to this man's show who was like 200 pounds, 3 kids, so much she want a high value man. I'm like, and when he breaks it down for them, they can't accept the truth. And he does it in such a way that he doesn't curse them out. He talks to them, not at them.
Now the thing is, I want to ask you, is it that they can't accept the truth? Or is that they don't want to hear the truth from you as a black man because they believe they're above your criticism?
I don't think it's not a can't thing, it's a won't thing. They won't accept it. And even if you give them evidence and facts and everything you needed to give them, they'll find a way to argue around it. That's what they do. I love my black women, but I know if I talk to black women in America, forget it. You can't tell them to go to the gym. That's a fight. You can't tell them to lose weight. That's an issue. You can't tell them, hey, maybe you shouldn't stop having all these kids. They're going to fight you on it. And the sisterhood is more important to their happiness than it is to ours. That is what that is.
Thank you so much. One other thing she brought up, Afro-Patriarch, was the prison industrial complex. And she talked about the incarceration rate of black men. Here's the thing. She basically said, she refers to it as rate, saying that black men have twice the incarceration rate as white men. But what she doesn't bring up is the fact that black women also have an increasingly high incarceration rate. The reason she brings up the fact that black men have this incarceration rate is because she wants to be able to say that there are less black men available because of our propensity to commit crimes or something like that. And basically also link us as being at fault. But what about the women that are taken off the board because of their own crimes they commit? Largely, women are committing crimes of drug crimes, fraud crimes. So those isn't at some point that'll be offsetting. But notice how she attempts to place all the blame on black men. What are your thoughts on that, Afro-Patriarch?
I feel like it's scapegoating because the rate of crime for women especially black women, have been increasing, not decreasing. So to me, I find it disingenuous that she's actually sitting there and bringing that up when she knows the history of what has happened within the community, but she wants to still target use that as a justification for black men to tell black men to be quiet.
Right. Now, I thank you so much for that. And we're going to go. Okay, Devin Lockett. The thing about this article is she also mentions that she refers to former President Donald Trump as Vice President Donald Trump. And I'm going to pull that up here because she says that in reference to this is her article, you guys. I'm not making fun of this lovely lady at all. I'm not. I'm just pointing out what's being said. And she basically refers to, she says the caveat is the definition makes former Vice President Donald Trump look like a promising suitor. Now, I don't really, and there's another thing in here. She refers to, and I'm trying to pull this part of the article up here. It says, Samuels compares a black woman's physique to former NFL linebackers Emmit Smith and Barry Sanders. What do you make of the fact that, how much stock should we put into this article when there are clearly these oversights? I'll call them. What are your thoughts on that, Devin?
I believe that I believe that article says a lot about her and whoever was supposed to proofread it and edit it, whoever is ultimately responsible for the publication of it. She sounds like kind of an ignorant woman, and from what I can read, it seems like she was motivated more by emotion and trying to hide behind the white man. For lack of a better way to put it. I don't think it's Eurocentric. Anything that what Kevin is saying is Eurocentric at all. I believe that those are standards around the world. Health is attractive. An unhealthy woman is not attractive. We're hardwired through, millions of years of evolution to look for women who are going to be healthy enough to carry our children. And, it's nonsensical to expect that a black man should be happy with a woman who's clearly unhealthy, even if it's not from a sexual attraction point of view. You don't want a woman that's going to die and abandon you and the children with adult onset diabetes
yeah, I get that. But specifically, she says the caveat is that his definition makes former Vice President Donald Trump look like a promising suitor. Now, did she do that on purpose? Is she specifically referring to the former president as the vice president?
Democrat loyalty. It could be Democrat loyalty. Yeah, it could be a mean-spirited, a hangover from the election of just, any blatant act of disrespect toward Trump is part of being, part of the team and getting him out of there. Even though what we've done is a lot worse than having Trump in there, but that's another story for another video.
So, do you think she also referred to Emmett Smith and Barry Sanders as linebackers out of spite?
No, that was ignorance. Just like the vice president comment was probably more ignorance than spite.
But the thing is, how do we take this thing seriously? What else is done out of ignorance and what else is done out of spite? How do we take an article like this by the Grio seriously if they would allow? And it's not like she put an asterisk next to vice president, so we would know, oh, she's just saying this to be spiteful. It reads as though she's done it on purpose. Now, this woman is a journalist, according to her LinkedIn profile, and she has years of experience as a journalist, yet it looks as though this particular article, hell, I'm gonna tell you now, my secretaries and other lawyers have to proofread my stuff before I file it. I would never, let this sort of stuff go. I don't trust myself. I write Negro well. Okay, I'm a Negro. You ever look at my notes? I speak Ebonics fluently, and so what do we think about a person like this who holds himself? Because it's one thing for us to say she's not qualified to discuss feminism and woman studies, but if you send an article, if you put articles out like this, are you even qualified? I'm looking at this work, and this is not New York Times work here. You understand what I'm saying? This stuff that basic stuff. So, you know, when she brings into question his qualifications, the question we have to have, by your work, are you qualified to even make, are you even qualified to be, you know, to write stuff like this? You see what I mean?
Right.
This article simply reflects
Go ahead,
the audience she's
well,
targeting.
who is that? Hold on. Who is that?
Roger.
Oh, Devin, who is that? Ron?
Roger.
All right, go ahead.
This article is clearly, this is how she feels about our audience. Our audience is silly enough that they're not going to even, everything that I said here is not going to be proofread. It's not going to be checked. And again, this is a Grio, so this is targeted for Black women. So this is clearly lets you know what they think about their audience. That we could write any cockadoodle-manny story, and they're just going to go over because our audience is easily deceived, which is the Black woman. And they know that. Too.
All right, now the thing is that's Roger, right? We want to go to, we got somebody else who's waiting here. And thank you so much. Eric Hudson, you've been waiting patiently. Unmute yourself, please.
Hey, good afternoon, gentlemen.
Good afternoon. And what are your thoughts on this? And then I'm going to ask you some specific questions because I want to get some specific responses to this from Black men. What are your thoughts on this thing, Eric?
I would say that, you know, perception is reality, right? So if this is what, we haven't seen her, we don't know who she is, but this is our first impression of her. And if our first impression
we have seen her. We have, hold on a minute. We do know what she looks like. Okay. This is her up in here somewhere. I have a beautiful photograph of her on the thumbnail that you all can check out. And this gorgeous photograph here of her. So this is her. This is what we're looking at. But go ahead, Eric.
Okay. So if you tell me you're a lawyer and then I see errors in how you practice, that's how I'm going to think of you already off the rip. And my thing is, accuracy is a reflection of the details that she put into this body of work that she called. If she's a journalism, she would have took her craft seriously, which means she would have put detail into everything she was writing. So there was a lack of care that she was talking about the Black man. So she didn't care to put in any detail or actually research anything she wanted to do on this article. So I thought that was lazy.
So if that's something, if based on this article, there's clearly some errors and some lack of research, and how seriously do we take this article from the Grio?
I don't take it serious at all. But unfortunately, people outside of this space and women are going to hear this and run with it, right? You know, so that's the sad part about this, is that something that can be very lackluster can be taken very serious.
Okay, and so how do we go about mitigating the damage associated? Because see, when she talks about Black men speaking up for themselves through Kevin Samuels, she's talking about all of us. So how do we begin to address this?
I think one way is what we're doing now, and then challenge her. We have to challenge. Somebody put out an article refuting everything she said. That's professionally done, properly resourced. You know, so I think that would be the best way, is to challenge what she's saying. Okay.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Those of you who appreciate what I'm doing here, make sure you hit the thumbs up button. We got 538 people in the chat room. We got 341 likes. Hit the like button if you appreciate what we're doing here, because I feel that this is the way we address it. It came out this morning. We are on this like a lean tick on a sick kitten. And I think that's important. We need to be hyper vigilant about protecting our image as Black men. We need to not let stuff like this go by. Black men have been expressing themselves for decades. Now this is the first time, or at least a decade, and this is the first time that we're able to have a open discussion here on YouTube. Kevin Samuels has taken these talking points to the mainstream, and they're fighting back. So we're going to go and we're going to talk to James. We're going to talk to Face Facts. We're going to talk to Afro Patriarch and Devin Lockett. But I want you guys to take the opportunity. If you appreciate what's going on here, hit the #1 button, because on this page, Black men's voices come first. We want to hear what you have to say. I want you to be able to speak openly. I want to be able to speak out. Now, we're going to be respectful, not bashing anybody. We're not talking about, we're solely looking at this from an academic standpoint. We're looking at these words so we can then take what we learn here out of the virtual world into the real world and better defend ourselves. So if you appreciate what's going on here, hit the #1 button. That's what I want you guys to do. In addition to that, hit the thumbs up button. I don't want to run any commercials. I just want you guys to allow me to continue this conversation. James, what do you think about the fact? So hit the number 1 button. We're going to keep talking, but you guys hit the number 1 button and also hit the thumbs up button. Get those likes up, or I'm going to run a boring lawyer commercial. I got them all saved up for you guys. Hit the like button, hit the thumbs up button. Keep it going if you appreciate it. We put the brothers, what the brothers have to say first on this page, unabashed. And also, of course, contribute to the Super Chat, the Cash App, and the PayPal. Let's see if we got any Cash Apps, PayPals, whatnot. We got some stuff coming through. You guys keep it going. But anyway, my man, James, why does she refer to Kevin Samuels as misogynoir, or basically a black misogynist, which is what let's come together and say, why is it that she does that? I mean, why is it before expressing his opinion and what he likes and doesn't like, or what high value men like and don't like? Why is that, James?
I personally believe it's spiteful. I don't think it's ignorance.
Mm-hmm.
At this point in this day and age, and I've always stressed this, we have a lot of our sisters who want to be, have the illusion of the Xena warrior princess, right? Mm-hmm. But when it comes to actually going to war, or delegating, or being involved in something that is strategical, all of a sudden they resort to insults, the continuously derogating men, black men especially, without even having an intellectual conversation. And it's one of those things at this point, when you look at society and historically, I don't know any culture, especially in African culture, Haitian culture, Jamaican, any of the island cultures, where men have not been involved in the forefronts for any type of revolutionary perspective, or in a sense of just justice within themselves, with their own communities. So to continuously, go ahead.
I want to ask a question specifically about what she said here. It says, basically, he's unable to properly acknowledge white supremacy as the driving force behind this divisiveness. All right. And let me read that whole thing. If that were not indicative enough as to how his Eurocentric perspective leaves black women open for attack, his hyper focus on surface discourse surely seals the deal. He consistently perpetuates clickbait conversations that incite reality, TBS squabbles, but is unable to properly acknowledge white supremacy as the driving force behind this divisiveness. So is white supremacy the driving force behind the divisiveness, the gender war between black men and women, or is it women's hypergamy and demanding more than what they can get? That's the question I have for all those who are red pilled. Who would like to answer that question?
I'll go ahead and answer it right now. I'll answer it right now. It is it's a hypergamy that is heavily influenced. And I'm going to say this. What kills me, Brother D, and the brothers may on this panel will agree, I don't understand how sisters can bring up so much about white supremacy, but in the same time will act and behave with wigs, different color eyelashes, or contacts as their you know what I mean, the white supremacists back in the 1980s as judges and magistrates. So for you to insult a man, to bring up these particular alleged talking points, saying that he represents this particular system, is so false and it's so ridiculous, because at the point we don't bring these conversations up.
Who's the real supremacist? Is it the one bringing black people together and causing for them to speak and reconciling, or is it the one attacking the person who's trying to bring them together? Who wants to answer that question?
Always the attacker. Always the attacker.
All right.
Always.
Okay. So, all right. So, face facts. What are your thoughts about this whole attack? Her basically labeling him the white supremacist or the advocate for dividing black people, when in actuality, we know it's because women, our sisters, our black women, have these unrealistic expectations, and they feel like they're settling for men, even though they're average and their man is average. Explain that. How does that make him a white supremacist by lowering women's expectations? Face facts.
Well,
that's her argument. Go ahead.
But what it is it's all shame and language. The thing that bothers the women about Kevin Samuels is not only does he have their playbook, he's able to break it down and communicate it calmly in a way where he basically dismantles all of their arguments. What it is they're constantly monitoring him to see how much of their secrets that he's going to give away. That's really what this is about. You know, as men, we're kind of hardwired to see women as, you know, weak, inferior, and incapable. But these women know exactly what they're doing. The fact that they feign ignorance is more as part of their motivation. There's no coincidence that women file 80% of the divorces, that they take men for child support. They know all the parameters of this system, inwards and outwards. So for them to say that the black man is participating in the white supremacy in any capacity is asinine.
Right. Now, and I'm gonna go to Afro Patriarch. So she refers to Kevin Samuels as a poster child for a group of black men in dire need of love and acceptance from the world. To me, that seems like projecting. You know, it seems like we're not the ones that rock the wigs, the weavy wigs, the gold blonde wigs, and lighten our skin. That's not what we do. That's what they do. And it's almost like they're the ones with the swirling movement. And so who's actually looking for acceptance from the mainstream or the dominant society, Afro Patriarch, in your opinion?
It's hilarious to me that you peep that. Because that's what I was thinking when I was just pulling up this article on my other phone. It's projecting. It's projecting that part because I'm like, I need to be loved by the world. I'm saying they're going like, but you guys are upset about colorism.
Mm-hmm.
You upset, and you made $1 billion industry in hair care money just to like I think that really these type of women, these type of sisters are more upset that we don't have those same problems.
You know, and another thing, this is peculiar because see, I'm always wary of like even when I go on television, I avoid terms like dangerous and thug and criminal and savage. You guys saw me on Fox the other day. But here's what she does. She refers to them, it's absolutely egregious and dangerous, right? This is the term she uses to describe Mr. Samuels and his work. To me, that's basically trying to make him an enemy. And then look at the other term she uses at the bottom. If he is the godfather, responsible for leading the new wave of black male masculinity, it would seem odd that his first, look at the term, victims would be black women, as though we are vampires or werewolves or something like that, right? All this man is doing is telling black women to lower their expectations so that they can get a husband. How does that make them a victim, Afro Patriarch? And then we'll ask Devin the same thing next.
It's literally makes no sense to me at all. That the fact that he's giving them game on how to get a husband, which it's funny, my younger sister's about to get married soon. And it's literally hilarious to me that he's giving technically big brother fatherly game to these young women who desperately want to have a family, which they should want to have that because it brings security and legacy. And she's saying to them that it's dangerous. She wants them. She essentially, to me, wants them to be perpetual single and uncovered in this world. That's what she really wants for these women.
Interesting. All right. So thank you so much, Devin Lockett. What else would you like to add to this conversation? This is wide open. Anything we talked about, anything we missed, what you got?
You know, honestly, I think it's funny that she would even mention white supremacy because this is between black men and black women. The white supremacy has really nothing to do with this conversation. In fact, I think she's really bringing up the whole white supremacy thing because she wants Kevin and us to acknowledge as black men, that her zaddy is the one who placed her in her ranking position above us. You see, and so by crying white supremacy, she's saying we are all victims. We're all victims, and she's the queen victim over us. And no. This isn't about white supremacy. We'll handle white supremacy when we have strong families. First, we got to get black men and women together so that we can start establishing families and generational wealth. You know.
So again, Devin. So what is it that it almost as though she's upset because she's been assigned as a gatekeeper, and he has been able to. Many of us who do YouTube podcasts have been able to usurp their gatekeeping ability. They can't keep us out of the mainstream. We're talking to the masses every day.
Right. I'm one of them.
Yeah, right. So my thing is that really the true I mean, talk to me. Come on, man. The floor is yours. Go ahead.
She's hating, brother. She's hating, and they're under attack. The black man is regaining the dignity of the black American family, and there's nothing that any of them can do to stop it. And all of this silliness is coming to an end. All of this feminism, this I like what the brother was saying the other day. Earlier on, what is it? Afro massage something.
Afro patriarch.
Right. Afro misandry Afro misandry.
Oh, I call it Afro misandry. The hatred of black males.
And that's really what it is. That's really what it is, brother. They hate. I believe, brother. Let me tell you, Uncle D. I believe that the white man is just as afraid as the black woman is of the black man right now in this point in time, standing up and really taking a stand in America. America is really prime for us to stand up and really take a position of power in this country. But no one is going to give us permission for that. To do that, especially our women, especially black women. Nobody's going to give us permission. And the media, nothing in the media is going to even lead us to is even encouraging us to stand up as powerful heterosexual black men. It's up to us to define ourselves. And that's what we're doing, man. That's what we're doing, Uncle D. That's what we're doing on the internet right now. And we have to give ourselves this voice because they're obviously trying to attack it. Every time a black man stands up with some level of conviction, here come the attacks. And unfortunately, our sisters are leading the attack against us.
Now, why is it that you think they're leading the attack against us? Why would they be afraid for black men to be leaders of the black community again? Why? What happens to them if we take over power in the black community again?
I guess they got to get gym memberships. I don't know.
Yeah, and I think they would have to give up power. And I think human beings, once vested with power, they don't want to give it up.
And they have to learn to be compliant and cooperative with the men of their community, just like women of all races do. They don't want to take that stand. They want to stand up and be Amazon warriors. And they think that there are men that are, desirous of Amazon warrior women. I, for one, am not.
Yeah. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Al P, you've been patiently waiting. Anybody else who wants to join in, the link is in the chat room. Okay, so Al P, she refers to, let me read, I want you guys to see this statement because, I had my opening diatribe and I want you guys to assess it for yourself. Some of you just came out today, so some folks haven't had an opportunity to read this thing. But it says, Samuels maintains, the market defines high-value men by 6 core principles: a man's ability to make at least $10,000 monthly for at least 5 years, the acceptance from a group of other high-value men, access to network like a fraternity, high visibility of a man's position, and the utility of that group. The caveat is that his definition makes former Vice President Donald Trump look like a promising suitor. Suppose black women take his advice at face value. In this case, it creates an unrealistic aspiration of seeking a black male partner with a median income for black men being $814 weekly and only 10% of America's population of men earning 6 figures. Not to mention incarceration rates for black men are double of that of white men in the U.S. It's nearly impossible for these men to qualify for the remaining principles. Here's the thing. She's basically taking what Kevin Samuels says is on the face. These women call in because they're looking for high value men. He's basically telling them, you don't qualify for a high value man because you're overweight and you have too many children, or you have children out of wedlock. And high value men have options, and they don't want women like you when they have other choices. So what's so hard about that to understand, Alp? Why is that? I mean, he's not telling them you can have a high value man at all costs. Those are unrealistic expectations. In whatever condition you bring yourself to him in, you can have that man. You deserve it, girl. Go, queen. That's not what he's saying. He's actually saying the exact opposite. He's telling them whether or not they qualify or not qualify. Why is it that this woman takes umbrage with that, Alp? In your opinion?
I think she's just. I think that article, what's stated is she is trying, like I said, like the people other panel, they shaming. He's trying to shame him because he is a heterosexual, patriarchal black man, and that is a rarity now. I mean, we're grown right now. We're this panel, your subscribers, the red pill, that we're turning into a patriarch. We're turned into we empower ourselves to be the patriarch of the black male in America. Even though I'm in overseas, in Dominican Republic.
Still here. Okay, so the other thing is, and I want to but go ahead. What else would you like to add, Alp? And anybody else who wants to come in, the link is in the chat room. Go ahead. Alp, can you hear me? Okay, we kind of lost Alp. James S. Here's another one. She says objectification of women. To add fuel to the fire, Kevin Samuel also ranks. Yeah. All right, I want James to take a crack at this, and anybody else who wants to chime in, come on in. Please contribute to the super chat, the Cash App, and the PayPal. I need 100 thumbs up if you appreciate what we're doing here. If you like the level of conversation, please hit the thumbs up button. Also hit the #1 button, and also join the chat and share if you like. But here's the thing: it says to add fuel to the fire. Kevin Samuels often ranks his guests using his coined term, the sexual marketplace value. Now, I personally know that term has been floating around the manosphere for almost 10 years. So it's not something that I don't even think Kevin even takes credit for that. He just uses it like we all do. But here's the thing. And bases their attractiveness on height, weight, dress size, physical features. Is there something wrong with that, Sam C? I mean, Sam, are you there, Sam?
Good afternoon. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. So he says that, first of all, go ahead and say what you got to say. What are your thoughts on this conversation? Then I'm going to ask you a question about this objectification of women. And all you guys can answer, because maybe they don't believe that fat meat is greasy. But go ahead, Sam C. Go ahead.
Number one, I think that it was a hit piece in the fact that the piece didn't seem like it was vetted very well through some of the inaccuracies that you pointed out in some of the journalists, from Vice President Donald Trump to running an EYEI formation. It just seems like it's just all over.
Right. I saw that too. The iPhone. Yeah.
And when you have something like that as an organization go out to represent you, I think that brings into question some of the credibility of the actual organization.
Mm-hmm.
Now, whenever you posted in Facebook this morning, I looked to see who was the editor, a black female, and then the director of content is a black male, and the ultimate owner of the site is a black male.
Right.
How does something like this get put out there without being properly vetted? And how does something so detrimental to the image of black men get put out there that is this damning and not that well articulated? I don't know.
I appreciate that too, because I don't know if I could even take this seriously. You know, I mean, that's kind of where I'm at. But let's do a little troll check, and we're gonna come back to Sam C. Let's see, Troy M. Unmute yourself, Troy. What's up? How you doing? Troy M.
I'm doing well, Dennis, and how are you?
I'm good. All right, so we'll be back to you in 1 second because I want to finish up with Sam. I just do troll checks to make sure we don't have any trolls in here. So the thing is, Sam, and you're a black man, you're a brother. When you determine whether or not you're attracted to a woman, right? Is it based on her height, weight, physical features? Or is it based on something else, like pure physical attraction? What's the first thing you're looking at, Sam? Because maybe it's just me. I'm going to look at what's on the outside. She ain't spoke a word. Matter of fact, there's some women I've never seen before in person, and I can look at a picture and tell you if I'm attracted to her or not based on what she looked like. Hadn't heard a word come out of her mouth. What are your criteria for what you find physically attractive in a woman? What do you look at? What do you look at? That's what I'm asking about her PhD level or education. What are you looking at, Sam? Want to look at her credit score?
The first thing is she attractive, right?
And what do you mean by attractive? Because I don't believe they think you know what you're talking about. They don't know what you're attracted to. Go ahead.
For me, it's being healthy. Is she fit? You know,
right.
Does she look like she's gonna be able to keep up with the rigors of daily life? And if she's overweight, then that might be a struggle. Am I gonna have to pay a bunch of health bills? I'm a little bit older, so for whenever I meet a woman now, she's gonna have to be able to fit that criteria. So yeah, looks, aesthetics is gonna be one of the things. She's gonna have a cute face.
I'm gonna ask you a question. If you met a woman who was 5'4", 180 pounds, and then you met another woman who's 5'4", 120 pounds, who do you think you would be willing to take on a date? Well, who do you think would be easier on your back? That's the question I want to ask you, sir.
All day, 120 pounds. I like a little bit thinner.
And I'm gonna ask you in an inverse. Now, women complain about men objectifying women. Have you ever had a chance to hear the rhythmic American poetry of TLC? Name a song entitled Scrub. Have you ever had an opportunity to hear that song, Scrub? I don't want no scrub. Scrub is a man who's sitting in the passenger side. Basically, what they're doing is they're looked at objective criteria in determining whether or not they want a particular man or group of men, and they determine that by his physical, how he looks, and his pocketbook or what's in his bank account. How does that make you feel? Because that seems to be the objectification of men. That's hurtful to me. Don't you think that we are all hurt by the fact that they objectify us, aren't we, Sam?
I'm hurt.
That's hurtful, but it is what it is.
It is what it is. So why is it that they can objectify us with how we look? And me and Devin and some of you other, we light-skinned brothers. I went through the whole 90s, and they wanted dark-skinned brothers with bald heads.
That's right.
And I felt left out, but I dealt with it. You see what I mean? On top of that, if you look carefully, my nose is a little crooked. And so I had that to deal with also. And so I dealt with it, and I found women that liked me for my light-skinned self and my dark nose. But why is it that women seem to want to tell us what we should be attracted to? That's the question that I have, Sam. And then we're going to go to Troy. Go ahead.
I mean, I think it's just the educational process anymore. The fact that you can't say things that might be interpreted as hurtful. I think that becomes kind of a thin line on what you can make comment on. Why is it that you can't say, man, you know what? I don't think I would date that type of person. And they just don't fit your criteria. Why is that so wrong? If you don't fit the criteria, you don't fit the criteria. Maybe there's something wrong with the person that's picking the person they don't like. If I don't like big women, maybe it's something wrong with me. But that's just what I don't like.
That's not, you don't like a big wide back woman. You don't need all that help around the farm. I understand, brother. But anyway, thank you so much, Sam. Troy M, how you doing? Unmute yourself, Sam. Troy. What are your thoughts on this conversation? I don't know how seriously to take this article anymore. After looking at it carefully, there's so many misstatements and just this poorly written. I don't even know. This woman is not even qualified to talk about I'm gonna wait around, I guess, for the New York Times to write a hit piece because this one is falling short. But what do you think, Troy? The floor is yours, and we're gonna go to LP, and then we got Twin M in here and ATL. Troy, what are your thoughts on this thing, man? I don't know what to say anymore. I'm a little disappointed at this point. Go ahead.
I agree with you, Dennis. And regarding that point about white supremacy, Kevin mentions this and he defends it all the time that back in the 50s and 60s, the marriage rate of Black Americans were the highest of any other race. And he also gives a timeline of how it is that the same American government, the same white supremacists that you mentioned in the article, approached a Black woman and presented an option to her where she can take many things from the government to replace her black male. And she took that offer.
Yeah.
So essentially, this idea of victimhood and white supremacy, I understand that essentially that when you see others have things that are beyond you or in excess of you, you want to do the quickest path to achieve that. And that is what Kevin talks about. He mentions this. He says that yes, it would have been a struggle to remain with the black man during that entire time and work your way up. But this is necessary. There is no shortcut. The idea of basically taking government subsidy and basically replacing the government with your black male with a government and replacing your patriarch and your family with a white daddy or basically the system itself was the downfall of the black woman. And 40 years has passed and this has not worked out. Stress has made you so.
And we are going to dig deep into that. We're going to dig deep into that goddess, that victim goddess complex that I've talked about. I haven't copyrighted that term. I hope y'all don't steal it, but that's all right. We're going to talk about that because I believe in the Black community, our Black women have been brainwashed to believe that they are more deserving than any other group of women on the face of the earth. They could be average at best, as Mr. Kevin Samuel said, but they want a man they want a Superman. You see, they want the best of the best. And even though they're average at best, because they've been trained to believe that irrespective of how they look, how many children they have, what venereal diseases, how many abortions they've had, how many marriages they've destroyed, how rude they are, how mean they nasty they are, they still deserve a high value man. And I think the question that we have to ask is why, and what is it that we are doing in the Black community as Black men to help foster that misbelief? Because I think we have so many simps and so many white knights, so many reverends, so many charlatans that come along and tell Black women what to believe. They have no choice but to begin to believe that because all the men around them are saying that. Even it's an echo chamber. And then when you look at a situation like the actress or singer Lizzo, thinking she can have the actor from Captain America and being shocked when he rebuffs her, right? Because there's a certain level of disillusion associated with the typical Black American woman thinking her sexual marketplace value is higher than what it is. But we'll have to deal with that. Troy, what else you got to say? Then we're gonna go to LP, Twin, and Semper Fidelis. Go ahead.
I just want to close by saying Kevin is doing work for the entire community. Because just like you mentioned, I don't know what it is about the Black female that she doesn't realize that there's 100 million people or whatever amount in the middle of America, in Tennessee, in Arkansas, in Louisiana, that are not living this high level white privileged life. Saying the white supremacy and the white structure requires middle, low, and high. And the high is very small compared to the middle and the low. But one of the things that makes this work is that the white man that's in the middle understands that he has to basically allow the white man at the top to thrive so he can benefit from his residual. And this concept works well. Just that for some reason the Black American female does not want to. She does not want to basically allow this to work. Prop up your men, prop them up, let them go all the way to the top, and then essentially, you know what I'm saying? And Kevin also mentioned, majority of Black men love and like and would prefer to be with Black women. Just don't like the idea if you believe in a television version of things and not living in this reality that we want you to live in, so that way we can have a good structure, build on what we have and leave things to our children. So our children can basically also love Black women. I mean, like what's going on with black boys in America right now is I have 2 boys, and like you, Dennis, I spend a lot of time working on them. I invest heavily in them, psychologically, physically, emotionally, and other things. I don't want my boys to become little Nas X. I don't want my boys to become that other guy on television. Like, I need them to understand that there's honor in being a black man. There's strength, and I want them to understand that they can find a decent black woman and enjoy life from that point on. But I digress, and I'll let other people put their input in.
Thank you so much, Troy. I appreciate it. Al P, man, what would you like to add about this article written by Miss Eartha Hopkins? I mean, this lovely lady is saying that Kevin Samuels is not qualified to give advice on relationships or even image consultant because he has a degree in engineering. But is she qualified to talk about the effects of white supremacy racism, what used to be or what was the culture in Africa pre-colonialization, or psychology when she has a degree in journalism and no history of even having any of those studies in her history? What do we do about that? Like, how is she even qualified to disqualify him? What are your thoughts on that, Alp? Alp, are you there? You got to unmute yourself. Oh, we lost Alp.
Hello?
Yeah,
Hello?
Go ahead. Yeah, what do you want to add to this conversation, Al? The floor is yours. Go.
Okay. I'm so tired of this white supremacy stuff. No disrespect to anybody, because it's like, okay, a lot of us, yes, the person talking about a sister like her, or those sisters talk about white supremacy this, white supremacy that. I think she got women, because it's like a woman can cry wolf. Somebody's going to protect her. The government's going to protect her over that white man. And Joe,
you know what
I tell you this.
I find ironic though. She says that Kevin Samuels is promoting basically white ideals of beauty. She's also saying that Kevin Samuels, in giving his advice to women, is ignoring white supremacy racism. But she herself is trying to disqualify Kevin Samuels because he didn't go to the right white institutions. She is basically acting as white supremacy's gatekeeper. He hasn't had his stamp of approval. Don't you find that ironic?
It is weird, because it's like she is that type of woman that she's not an image consultant. She's not a person. Look, she never think about his perspective and his experience. He's just trying to. That article shows that she just want to shame indirectly, but use it in a essay, basically, in an article, but try to shame indirectly, but trying to make it intelligent and logical, and it's not making any sense. The talking points is not reasonable and logical and factual. It is. I mean, it is factual, but it's not. He's just making it seem like it's nothing but fluff to me. It's like, okay, yeah, he is an image consultant. He's a high value man. He's make a lot of money. He's getting people to make. He's getting people together. So why she's being so negative is because this is a multi-billion-dollar thing. They're trying to divide black men and black women, and because it's making more money. Just like Love and Hip Hop, they made a lot of money with Love and Hip Hop. They doing the same thing. It's the people is. I mean, the media is making it, trying to make us to be more divided, and it's that's what they're trying to do. One of those media. She's part of the media, trying to divide and conquer.
Well, thank you so much, Alfie. I appreciate that. Look, we got a young lady in the chat room. Let's pull B Candy. You've had a lot to say in our chat room here. You know, we're very kind here on Dennis Sperling Unfiltered. We're never rude to the ladies. We treat the lovely ladies with respect. And so I'm going to ask that you go ahead and come on into the chat room and come on into the come on into the conversation. You seem to have a lot to say. Again, this page is typically dedicated for Black men to speak to other Black men about issues that affect us. But since you have a lot to say, I want you to go ahead and click on the link and come on in. Again, I'm very respectful. The floor will be yours, but we want to hear what you have to say. And that's pretty much how that's going to go. So we'll wait for you to come on in. In the meantime, I'm gonna give you a few minutes to get yourself together. You don't have to show your face. All we want to do is hear your voice and your talking points. But in the meantime, Twin M has been waiting patiently. He looked like he got a lot to say, and I want to hear what Twin M has to say. But in the meantime, folks, hit the thumbs up button. If you appreciate this conversation of Black men speaking, putting themselves first, putting their ideas out there, hit the number 1 button. That's what I want you guys to do. Hit the number 1 button, and let us continue going forward. Hit the number 1 button. In addition to that, make sure you hit the thumbs up button. And those of you who appreciate this conversation, I'm gonna run a commercial because they don't believe. Let me run a commercial to show them how mean I can be. Look at that.
Hey, what's up, everybody? If you appreciate the format and you appreciate what we're doing here, then make sure you contribute to the Cash App. Make sure you contribute to the PayPal. Make sure you donate to the Super Chat. It's only you and your contributions that keep this thing going. Thanks.
All right, I got plenty of boring lawyer commercials to break up this monotony, but if you guys contribute to the Super Chat, the Cash App, and the PayPal, I won't have to do that. Twin M, man, what's on your mind? Talk to me, man. What do you think about this hit piece? So what do you think about this article? Maybe you agree with everything she said. Let us know. Go ahead.
Nah, I don't agree at all. But I will say that I'm not surprised at all that the article was even allowed to be put out. To me, it's just more of the tactics they've been doing or using, and they always try to use us against each other. I personally really dig what Kevin Samuels does, how he I dig what he does, because he's telling a side of the truth that has not been allowed to really be talked about or displayed. See, a lot of the problems that we have, generally speaking, about Black women is Black women have not been held accountable for their behaviors. They've been allowed to be as nasty as they want to be, and they're never held accountable for their behaviors or their actions.
I'm sorry. Let me. We got a brother here. His name is Conscious Moron, and his statement was deleted. He says, "So y'all care what a woman is saying about another man, and this shit here, man." Okay, so Conscious Moron. Let me explain something to you. When they attack Black men, it's not just an attack on one Black man. When they lynched George Floyd and they said all those negative things about him, when they talked about Trayvon Martin and they called him a thug, they are not just talking about one Black man. That impugns the credibility and the character of all of us. So when they attack Kevin Samuels for speaking up on behalf of Black men and letting our viewpoint be heard, that is basically attacking all of us. They're telling us to shut up, sit down, and take it, boy. And so when you say stuff like, "Oh, y'all just that's silk talk, brother. Oh, y'all, why y'all care what a woman says about another man?" That's not how this works, bro. All right, and you need to understand that. I understand you call yourself Conscious Moron. Hopefully that implies there's some more you can learn. An attack on one of us is an attack on all of us in this society. They use, it doesn't matter if you're a doctor, a lawyer, or whoever. You could be a bum on the street. You can never rise as high as your people. Why? Because you will always have the social status of the lowest one amongst your people. And so it doesn't matter how much money you have. They're attacking Kevin. This 50-year-old man is being attacked by this 20-something-year-old girl who is a journalist and has no qualifications to even talk to him about the subject that he's talking about. Period. She's not a she's not a sociologist. She's not even a Black feminist, because the Black feminists would say, yeah, women have agency and they should be held responsible. That's what the Black feminists are saying. That's what a radical feminist would teach. I know that because I've studied more than she has, and I've taken the time to speak to people. She's attacking him because she's been set upon him by the Grio, which is following the troughs, which is following the stereotypes. They're going about doing the same thing they've been doing for the past 50 years in order to demonize black men. And you need to learn to recognize it when it happens. So, you know, shout out to Conscious Moron. If you'd like to come on here, we can do that. But you have to understand what's happening. They lynching one of us is symbolic lynching of all of us, brother. No matter what your color is, your education, what you do, it's all of us. So we all in this together. And that's something we got to get back together. But go ahead, Twin.
Yeah, in facts. Yeah, so basically what I was saying was that I'm not surprised by the article. It's the same tactics that they always use when it comes to us voicing our opinion or even trying to correct our women to get them back in line so that we can grow the black family and we can get back to growing black wealth and correcting what's wrong with the black family, generally speaking. Excuse me, I'm outside. That's a plane going by.
That's cool, bro. We can hear you.
All right. So with that being said, I don't disagree with anything that Kevin has said or has done, because what he's doing is he's correcting the misinformation that a lot of black females have been allowed to run with for years. And that misinformation has allowed the black family to continue to be broke down and separated, because they're running around with these false perceptions and ideas and delusions of what they think reality is, and it's far from reality. I don't care if you're overweight, you in weight. I don't care if you make money or you don't make money, but if you have a false delusion of what's real, it's not helping anyone. You're a part of the problem, not the solution. And what he's doing is correcting that false narrative that's been allowed to be out there. And that's all I wanted to say. And that's where I'm at with it.
All right, man. I appreciate that. Okay, so here's the thing. We want to get Semper Fidelis in here. What's up, man? Unmute yourself.
Hey, what's happening? I'm not muted. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. Thank you for your time and thank you for patiently waiting.
Hey, thanks for letting me out.
I gave a special shout out, young lady. You need to come on, ease on up in here, get this conversation. You had a lot to say, Miss B Candy, and you need to come on in. And what was the young lady's name? Where's she at, y'all? Somebody find her. Because if you can't come in, you're gonna be putting time out for a little while. All right. So come on in. You had a lot to say. Come on in. Not gonna bite you, but you need to speak up for yourself. You can't just have pot shots from the sideline. You got to stand on what you say. You in here talking amongst men, and this is what you're gonna get. So be Candy, come on in. But anyway, I apologize, Mr. Semper Fidelis. What would you like to add to this conversation, sir?
I'd like to say this, okay? First and foremost, I'm out of that morass altogether. I live in the Republic of Finland, 6,000 miles across the pond. Okay, I'm next door to Sweden on the west.
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
In Norway. Yeah, okay, cool.
Yeah. So now the thing about it for me is this. I'm married to a Finnish woman who is half Roma, or what the Europeans call a gypsy, and half white Finn, right? Her father, my father-in-law, God bless him, he's long since passed, and my mother-in-law passed also. Okay, he was straight up gypsy. Okay, I got along fine with this man. The man sized me up when I talked with him, and the hard thing about it is the language barrier. So I had to go by how his body language, you know, how he talked to me, you know, and things like that. So we got along fine. But the point I'm making is this, okay? Black men have been showing loyalty to black women for a long time.
Right.
To the point now where, you know, we talk about, you know, the 60s and 70s, the feminist movement, and how black women try to get into it. White women told them that, hey, no, do your own thing. Okay, well, they did their own thing. We see that it's not working for us, okay, as a community of people, community of men and women.
I want to ask you a question and we can get more out of you, because you're in Finland, brother. I've seen there's some beautiful women in Finland. There's some beautiful, there's a beautiful country up there. And what is your perspective on what's going on here in the United States between black men and black women? Is it because of white supremacy racism, or is it because black, as Mumia Obsidian Ali says, just because black men and women don't get along? What is it?
From the way I see it, from what I'm hearing, I mean, especially from the Black Manosphere and even SYSBM, is that, hey, listen, we're not getting along together. And this cloud of white supremacy, I think we're allowing that to separate us, particularly on the female side, on the women's side, because when it gets to a point where, okay, well, guess what? White women are making.
Why is it that white supremacy racism doesn't have women and men from other races fighting like we do?
Because their culture is different, man. Okay.
Why is it that those other women in those races, yeah, they acknowledge that white men rule the world and they president of the United States, putting people on the moon, fly all the planes, make all the planes, but they don't have this unreal expectation that their men have to be Superman in order for them to even respect them. Why is that? Why do our women feel like we have to be Superman in order for them to give us basic respect, dignity, and courtesy? Why is that?
Well, you know what they always say, black men, oh, you don't own nothing, you don't run nothing, you don't run the government, da 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 da. We know that.
But Hispanic men, and I'm just speaking on here in the United, they're the poorest group of men in America, but they're women. But I'm going to do an article on this, I believe, tonight. And it shows they're the happiest men in America throughout, even in their own countries, and they're poor. And because their women respect them and their families respect them. And they have a bigger baby mama rate, out of wedlock rate than we do. So it's not like the dads are even with the moms like that, but they're still the happiest men in their respective. Why is there a difference there? Why is it that their women respect them even in this country? Why is it and ours don't? Explain that. What's the difference between their women and ours?
There's a different standard, okay? And I think that standard has to do with, a lot of people like to shy away from it, but morality is in that standard. They have certain religious standards and principles that they live by about being a couple and raising a family that's going to.
We're the most religious people in America. We go to church more than anybody else. The church, the mosque. We even make up religions. We got all kind of religions. We make up derivatives of religion. We Hebrew, Israelites, we Muslims, we special kind of Muslims, we Christians, we got Baptists. Why is that?
But you know what though? We're also
religion.
We're United States of America, if you think about it, we're one of the richest nations on earth in mana and money, right? And we're highly consumerist. So we become secularized. When secularization goes into the bedroom, that's a problem.
Okay.
Because the principles of raising a family, raising a community together to strengthen and improve your human condition, that's got moral principles attached to it. And secularization cannot penetrate that completely.
I appreciate that. Thank you so much. Look, Rakim and Savant 88, welcome guys. How you guys doing? Unmute yourselves. Rakim, what's happening, man? Savant 88, what's going on?
Hey, Uncle D, can you hear me?
I can hear you. Rakim, I can't hear you yet. Say what, Rakim, are you there?
Yeah, I'm right here, Uncle D. I'm right here.
All right, no problem, man. So Rakim and Savant, okay, how old are you two guys? How old are you, Rakim?
I just made 33.
All right, Savant, how old are you?
I just turned 31 last month.
So how do you young brothers feel about inheriting this war of the sexes that basically started before even I was born, because I'm a member of Generation X, and now you're picking it up? Because I talk to enough young brothers, you guys are like, we out. We're not about to sit here and fight these women about this. And then you hear hit pieces like this. This man is basically speaking up on behalf of black men saying, hey, we want women who are slender and fit and smile. Well, that's it, pretty much. And they don't want to do that, Rakim. They call that white supremacy, racism, and European standards of beauty. And how does that make you feel as a black man about your likelihood to deal with a black American woman, Rakim?
Well, quite frankly, Uncle D, it's just like what you've been covering through various shows. Brothers just got tired. A lot of brothers are tired. We've been dealing with this as long as I can remember, and that was in the mid-90s. And to be honest, it's time that brothers, we got to start taking our power back. We have to start doing what's necessary to make sure that we get the resources that we need to overturn this disaster that we've been dealing with for so long. And I'm sorry, I hate to say it, but from what I hear with a lot of brothers sound very soft, and we sound very cowardly when it comes to taking our power back. And that needs to be eradicated. We keep trying to make sense of this type of illogical behavior. And this illogical behavior comes from the fact that women feels like they are the authority, that they have the power, that they don't have to listen to anything that we have to say. And that's what we've been dealing with for the last 30 years.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Savant, how do you feel about inheriting this war of the sexes? How does that make you feel as a young black man, only barely 30 years old?
Well, from what I can see, I think what's going on is that we really need to understand the point of view as to what the women are trying to say, but they may not be able to articulate it. Shout out to Rollo Tomasi. He said that men and women express love differently. And from a woman's perspective, she's expressing love opportunistically. So I'll give you an example. Tommy Sotomayor proposed the question that why is it that Michael B. Jordan can be on a boat with a group of white women and he's called a sellout, but then Serena Williams goes and marries a white guy and she's not called a sellout? Because my analysis and my realization is that when women complain, just like the young ladies complaining, what they're complaining about is a missed opportunity. So it goes back to that level of love of being able to love a man opportunistically. Now, you mentioned earlier about the Mexicans and the Hispanics. Why do they get a level of respect that we don't? Is because from their
they're dirt poor.
Yes, from their third world country, the woman is saying, hey, look, we come from this, but the opportunity for us to live in the United States is much better than what we came from, because there it goes. It's an opportunity.
Even in the second and third generations that have not experienced that poverty,
okay,
they still command respect. So how does that happen?
That happens because what our women are really petitioning for when they say that they want to be with us is structure. But when it comes to their actions, because see, the whole thing about body shaming, body positivity, being hypercritical of black women, that comes from a place of structure. So when you subscribe to being in a relationship, what you're saying is, I'm subscribing to the structure of monotony, of things being boring. But everything around you, nothing in our culture, when it comes to, well, let me not say nothing, rarely anything in our culture relates to the structural principle of masculinity. And as a result of that, I don't even think that these women realize what they're signing up for when they say that they want to be with us. Because how can you say, I want to be in a structural environment in a relationship with a heterosexual male, when everything you do is the antithesis of structure?
Okay. So I'm going to ask you some questions, because basically you're saying that their love language is different than ours. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Okay. So you think that this is a plea, this attack on Kevin Samuels is a plea for love?
Well, not necessarily. What I'm saying is the way that she's articulating it is to say, hey, Kevin, don't get on your show and tell black women that we aren't good enough or shame us, because what you're really telling me is that this is a missed love opportunity for me, that I can't get the high value men that I really want.
Is it really love, or is it opportunity for somebody to take care of it? Because I don't know.
I think according to Rollo Tomasi and the Rational Male, I think when it comes to women, those words are interchangeable, because they do love opportunistically more so than men.
I don't know if I would agree with that. Okay, because I think women know the difference between love and opportunity, because I'm not a chauvinist. I treat women just like I treat men. I believe they have the same level of intelligence, and I don't cripple them or treat them like they're children. There are women who have more experience, education, run businesses. They know the difference between the term love and opportunity. They're not just these feeling creatures that don't know the difference. So I think that, see, you can love a poor man as well as you can love a rich man. But what they're screaming and hollering about that rich man that they couldn't have, that high value man.
Yes, you just made my point.
How did I make your point?
Because that's a missed opportunity for them based upon.
Yeah, but there's a difference. But it's not because they love him; it's because they need him for his resources.
Yes, but that turns into a potential of love because you have a cohabitation of a man and a woman in a potential
You basically
relationship.
said they missed the opportunity to be with a man who can provide him and who they can eventually fall in love with.
Yes,
but it's not a love decision initially.
No, correct. That's what I'm trying to say. Yes.
Okay. All right. Well, anybody want to hit that? Anybody want to address that? What Savant 88 said? You haven't spoken in a while. Devin Lockett, and then anybody else who wants to hit that. Go ahead, Devin, and then you guys.
Yeah, I can appreciate what the brother is saying. Oh, I'm sorry, man. I can appreciate what the brother is saying, but we can't ignore the fact that there's always a yin and yang, a dominant, submissive component to every sexual relationship. Mm-hmm. And when a white woman submits to a black man, that's kind of normal because the black man is the most dominant man of all of the races of men on the planet. And when a black woman is submitting to a white man, she's submitting to him in the overall social sense of white supremacy. This is a zaddy. Yes. And she may never get that true male dominance other than the fact that he has the right to, divorce her whenever he's tired of her or whatever, and he can buy another one like her and whatever.
Savant, let's let 88 finish. Go ahead, 88, Devin, and then we'll go to Troy. All right, Troy, what would you like to add to this? I think Troy was looking to add something to this conversation. Troy?
No, I fully agree with the last young man's interpretation of Eartha Hopkins' rational male. Yeah, the black female has lost a lot of opportunity due to her mindset, and her mindset has led to her physical outer appearance. And
so this is not love, this is regret.
Yes, she's losing opportunities daily because some of the most attractive black women, me and my wife was talking about it just last night. It's like Taraji P. Henson, Regina Bell, Trace Ellis Ross. I can just name rich, beautiful women that nobody wants. Like I'm saying, it's like these women are not unattractive.
I don't understand. What does that have to do with this woman saying Kevin Samuels is white supremacist racist? That's what I don't get. I mean, I hear what you're saying. This is about love. See, now I'm confused because I thought this was about money. I thought they don't like the fact that Kevin Samuels is infringing on their territory. He didn't go through the proper channels. He hadn't been vetted. He's saying things that offend them and make it hard for them to continue with these lies and these tropes about black men. Now y'all telling me this is about love. I don't see the love. She's talking about misogynist, objectification of women. She's basically trying to sun black men and tell them what they should want. And I don't get it. Y'all got to make me understand this. And I've been studying this for a minute. Well, who else can try to help something right quick? Y'all basically, I want to know what's happening here.
Yeah, if I can say something right quick, I just want to say that this is Twin. I just want to say that one thing: the notion that nobody wants them is not true. The people that do want them, they don't want them.
That's what I thought. Yeah, they're trying to force you to want. You trying to force somebody who has options to want you that don't want you. He makes $300,000 a year.
Right.
He's all over the world. He doesn't have any kids. You got 3 kids. You're overweight, and you trying to force him to want you, and he don't want you. And we telling you, look, that dude over there wants you. That guy over there wants you. That little average guy over there that makes $54,000 a year, he wants you.
But
the other one doesn't want you, and you're trying to make him want you. And see, that just means it's not that you don't know. It's not your opportunity. Is that you don't qualify, and that's what you don't like because you might have never qualified. But go ahead.
You know what?
Because opportunity means you had a chance. Yeah. Some of y'all lovely ladies just never qualified in the first place. But go ahead.
May I say something?
Yes, sir. That is let me see.
Fidelis.
Fidelis. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. From what I'm hearing, and from what I've been seeing, okay, that old mantra, right? Your mama black. Okay, that's an ideology that I'm hearing that black women have. No matter what size the bag they have, no matter what education they have, no matter what their socioeconomic status in the U.S. is, okay, they want absolute race loyalty from black men towards black women, which they are not willing to give themselves. Okay, but at the same,
yeah, and then the thing is, man, and we hit something earlier, and I believe you on that, and I want to add something to that, because here's the thing: when you get a person like Lizzo who thinks they can run up in Captain America's inbox and think he will try to holler at her or will respond, that's delusional. And so we have to ask ourselves, why is that person delusional? What culture did she come from? She comes from a culture where the lovely ladies are considered the queen mother goddesses of the black community. So when you go out and you say, oh no, I have standards, I am a black man, I have standards, and then you begin to hurt their feelings with your standards because they don't qualify, I don't see that as love. I see that as a day of reckoning. I see that as honesty, and it's painful. You see what I'm saying? Because the truth hurts. And I think that's all Mr. Kevin Samuels did. What they're trying to do is play on your emotions and basically castigate this man and make it seem like he's doing the devil's work because he's saying black men have standards. That's what I see. Y'all go ahead and tell me I'm wrong. We're gonna go, we're gonna start at James, we're gonna go to Afro Patriarch, Devin, Troy, Twin, Semper Fidelis, and then we're gonna wrap up with Rakim and Savant 88. Tell me why I'm wrong. Tell me why I'm wrong, James. Go ahead.
Brother D, I wish I could tell you were wrong. I wish this was like Black Mirror, right?
Yeah.
But the truth is, brothers are alive and well and healthy and are ready to fight for what they believe in. Because there's only so much we can take in the chin, man. And we're at a point, and I've said this before, our brothers are not incompetent. This narrative that we don't understand our own psyches, that we need to be strapped up in a chair in an asylum home because sisters think, oh, you don't know what you want. You ain't really that hungry. You don't need to tell me how to look. Is insanity. This is what they want us to resort to, the concept of insanity. Repeat.
We babies. We just get the baby food that's on the table.
That's it.
You eat peas today. You eat these goddamn peas and shut up and don't say a damn thing. You a baby.
Yeah, they want to give us Gerber food until we ate it. You know what I'm saying? That's what they really want to do. But
you just tell us what we want. All right, man. Thank you so much, James. I appreciate Afro Patriarch, man. Tell me why I'm wrong, because it seems to me all the Kevin Samuels is doing is telling these lovely ladies what black men I value men want, and they don't like it. And now this hit piece came about because they didn't hurt some feelings. I don't see no love in it. I see, damn, how dare he? I'm the queen mother goddess of the universe. You can't tell me what you want. What's wrong with you? And a lot of that has to do with these simps and these professional simps. He should take you how you are, queen. It doesn't matter if you got 5 kids. These are African standards of beauty, and that's what we've been doing traditional since everybody got a baby. You know, I don't get that, man. It's just we've been in this continent for over 400, 500 years. Yeah. We've been on this continent. So to me, when I hear that, I just sit there and laugh, because not even the Africans themselves even have that standard that they're talking about.
Yeah. All the Africans I know are skinny.
Okay, let's not. Yeah, all the African women I know are skinny. Go ahead.
Yeah, like I agree with the brother. Like, it was skinny as hell. Like, like last time I heard, you know what I mean. And I talked to my African Congolese brother. He said, when he says that the black women over there, we heard of African American say black women over there are there's different percentage of beauty. He said because he knew what she was alluding to, and said, no, we don't allow obesity. We don't like obesity in my culture either. Because he was quick to chain around their stomach or something like that. Don't they put a little chain around their stomach? Let them, baby, you're getting a little portly. One might want to ease up on the couscous.
Don't they do that?
Sudanese women, Congolese and Senegalese are some of the most thinnest women I've ever seen in my life. Some of the most thinnest women I've ever seen in my life, and very long faces, very elegant faces. I sit there and I adore Ethiopian women, but I don't see what they're talking about.
Maybe they just lying.
What up, young brother? What up, young brother? How you doing?
Lying, man. You know, but
I'll just say this. You know where you're wrong at? Tell me
you're
wrong at because you won't bend the knee, man. You won't bend the knee and tell these lovely ladies what they want. You won't rap to them and call them Queen Mother Goddess,
Queen,
Gold Ma, Gold Ma. What would you bend the knee, brother? What would you bend the knee? Take the blue pill, man.
Yeah. I'm gonna pray for them. I'm gonna pray to Jesus, Allah, the Pope, Farrakhan. I'm gonna pray to all of them folks so they can learn. But thank you so much, Afro Pay. Devin, look, man, I need you and your wisdom. I need you to tell me why I'm wrong. Tell me why I'm wrong. That yes, Mr. Samuels is racist. He hates black people. He's a self-hater. And on top of that, you know, he needs to stop what he doing. Tell me why.
See, where you wrong, brother, where you wrong is believing that you have the right to have standards, man. How dare you? How dare you believe that you have the right to want a beautiful woman? Isn't that a damn shame?
Is this after 50 years of being standard free? Because black women, if you look, I'm going to show you some pictures, man. I'm going to just type this in. But go ahead. Black women in the 1950s, they wasn't swole like that, man. You know, and they actually worked on farms back then. They wasn't, you know, they wasn't as solid as they are now. What happened?
Man,
what happened?
sisters were fine. I was born in 65, man. Sisters were fine at the bus stop. Sisters were fine at the high school games. Sisters were fine everywhere, man. I don't know what happened. Actually, fine was the norm. But if you go to Cuba, fine is still the norm. Go to Brazil, man. Fine is still the norm. I mean, they're black, most of them. You know, I mean, you know, you go to a lot of the countries in the Caribbean, Latin America, you know, listen, man, this is an engineered society. This is an engineered culture of excess with food, dietary excess. We got this body acceptance or whatever. You can't fat shame people, which is absolutely ridiculous.
That's the victim part of the queen mother. That's the victim part of the victim goddess complex. You can't shame them. Tell them that. Go ahead, keep going, brother.
Well, I mean, that's just the bottom line. And you know, I got 3 kids, pretty much all overseas. I mean, you know, all from overseas sources. They're here with me now, but you understand what I'm saying, from overseas cultures. And at this point, man, we're gonna, as black men, we're gonna create black children no matter what. All be they light skinned, right, from time to time, and we should just get with the women that love us and honor us and respect us, because life is really too short, man, to try to.
I get that, but you know, and I understand, and I know the SYSBM brothers. That's why I shout out to SYSBM. But what I've learned is, no matter where you move, you still black, and your kids gonna be black, and you still gonna have to deal with the same stuff. And if you happen to bring your children back to the black community, they're still going to be considered black. So you're going to end up in the black neighborhood. And so it all leads back to blackness. And so until we begin to correct ourselves as men and stand up as ourselves and get rid of this simp, white knight, easy, I just call it just, you need to be a bad guy, you know, like the rest of the men on the planet, and basically assert yourself and speak. Because Mr. Kevin Samuels is the bad guy. He is the epitome of what we all should be. If we were all more like Kevin Samuels 40, 50 years ago, none of this would happen. He's the only man that I know that has had the courage to stand up and eloquently. See, not only is it courage, because there's plenty of brothers have been talking, but eloquence, courage, and patience to stand in the fire and speak this truth that many of us think, but none of us have been willing to say. You know damn well that 250-pound girl with 3 kids is not your type. But you know, yeah, queen, I love you, queen. You beautiful queen. Nobody should judge you. You're a goddess. Y'all been lying. Y'all been lying to this women, and y'all wonder why they're delusional. It's partly because of our fault. it's partly because we got low standards and we'll smash anything. And y'all been hitting that, and they equate somebody hit this with I'm acceptable, I'm beautiful, I'm a high value woman. And
That's
it's
a good
partly our
point.
fault, brothers, and we got to cut that out. You know, now y'all mad because y'all speaking the truth and they don't, what you mean? Stop hitting on them at the gas station. That's what you need.
Stop swiping right. Stop swiping right and getting their heads rolled up.
Yeah, man. We have to accept some responsibility as black men because we have allowed this. But Troy, go ahead, Troy. Go ahead, man, and tell me I'm wrong, bro. Go ahead. Tell me what we need. What do we need to do to fix this? What are we gonna do, man? I don't know. What's your thoughts? Go ahead, Troy.
Well, I'm on board with the black family, so I agree that one can find other women in other culture, but I believe in rewarding the black women that don't believe in this philosophy. It might be harder to find a few that don't adhere to this false reality, this delusion. But I have one. I reward her. I'm saying I don't pedestalize her, but at the same time, I let her know that I'm saying she agrees with the fact that these women are delusional. So, because you mentioned the point about other cultures and how the women take the men as they are. So, it's the black female has the war between black and white America has been going on, and the black woman she somehow found herself the victim of the things that have been told to her. I agree that other culture and other sets of race of people are not being attacked perpetually by the system because they adhere to the system, they work in the system within the roles they've been given, and they basically capitulate. And one of the biggest problems with white supremacy is black empowerment. So white supremacy is constantly attacking the black male. And one of the easiest ways to destroy the black male is to destroy the black women. And it is going to be difficult for black men to basically resist, stop swiping right, as you mentioned, and to not reward those big women. It's like that's big women with 3 kids. Like that shouldn't be a thing. Like men should be seeing these 200-pound women and passing them by and let them know and punish them for being this big. Punish them for basically lacking discipline and for being so abrupt and masculine in their disposition. They have, and when you do that, that's when you get results.
I appreciate that, Troy. Look, get the likes up, you guys. We're gonna go on to Twin M. Look, Twin, like the brother said, what we need to stop doing is rewarding this delusion. Okay, we need to stop lying to these women, Twin. Okay, we need to stop it. It's partly our fault. You've been telling us she's fine. She was 150 pounds. You fine, baby. 165, 185, 220, 275 pounds. You've been telling us she's fine all these years, knowing you're like, woo, baby, you bad on my back and my knees hurt. You see what I'm saying? We lying to them. I mean, we got to accept responsibility, fellas. We have been leading these women on and telling them some of their behavior. Oh, baby, you know what? He just can't handle a real woman. Oh, baby, you know, he ain't a real man if he's not here to help you take care of all 5 of your kids by all 7 of them different dudes. He's not a real man. A real man to step up. We've been lying to these women. All of these dudes out here lying to these women. Y'all got famous YouTubers right now. We ain't gonna name no names. We got famous YouTubers right now that have made a business out of lying to women and making them feel good. You got these so-called black revolutionary types that lie to women and come to find out they just trying to get in their draws. You got the preacher lying to the women so he can keep them in the front row. Not only he getting the stuff in the bedroom, he also getting what's in their pocketbook. All of that. Y'all been appeasing these women. Y'all are famous for appeasing women. We got songs from the 80s and 90s. Listen to them. Songs from that. Baby, yeah, all of that. Lying. Now y'all mad because somebody finally said, you know, these Negroes been lying to y'all. They've been lying. And what are we gonna twin? We gotta accept some responsibility, right? This attack on a delusion, like what you mean? Y'all telling us this will be good, and now all of a sudden y'all telling us, oh, this is what you want. Quinn, it's on you, brother. Go ahead. I want to hear what you got to say.
Well,
Quinn.
I'll say that I do agree with what you're saying to a fault. Here here's my perspective on it, right? I think it goes deeper than just the weight. The weight is an issue. That's a problem. But it's deeper than just the weight. I think it's in the attitude. You know, are you vibrating low? Are you vibrating high? You know, what's in your mental state? You know what I mean? What are you doing to enhance yourself mentally, you know, emotionally, physically, spiritually? You know what I'm saying? What
Dude,
are
you
you
know
doing
what?
to
If she
develop as a
fine,
person?
if she fine with a bad attitude and 3 kids, I know 10 black dudes that have smashed that.
But she's still ugly.
But they don't even care. That's what I'm telling you. They don't care. And then, matter of fact, they don't. Yeah, baby, you fine, girl. They don't know what they talk about. You a real woman. I can handle it. Cause I know what you do. I know what you do. I know what y'all been doing. You've been lying to these women. You trying to get what you want, and then you won't marry. Go ahead.
But again, when you're dealing with those type of people that are smashing just any and everything, again, those are low vibrating people. Those are people that's not on a high level anyway.
I don't accept that. I don't accept that. We all get low. All of us. Hey, you know I'm telling the truth, brother. We have low standards as black men. If she's fine, we will damn near tolerate anything. You see what I'm saying? And so we are responsible for lying.
I agree with you, but we have to, like the brother was saying, we got to up our standards as well, though.
How about maybe we just start telling the truth and keep on telling the truth.
I don't disagree with that at all. But again, I think we still have to deal with the mentality.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? It doesn't matter if you drop dead gorgeous if your mentality is ugly.
And see, the thing is, twin, I don't think it didn't start with us, because you guys look like y'all part of Generation X. But see, these young brothers got to inherit this foolishness. They got to come around and say, well, you know, now that I'm going to school with Becky and Linda and who else? And Maria and all these other fine women, you know what, y'all ain't as fine as we said y'all was. We was actually just lying. And now they mad. You see what I'm saying? You got 51% of black men saying, I ain't getting married. You got another 25% of the black men who are married saying, well, I'm going to marry out of the race. And a lot of these young brothers ain't dating no black women at all because they got a choice now. And so these sisters are like, hold on a minute. Y'all been lying to us for the past 50 years, telling us we fine and we all this. And they stuck us with these kids. And now y'all done bounced. Y'all was cool with it. Nobody told us. So now you got Kevin Samuels out here and the Manosphere. I mean, it's a tough situation.
I agree with what Kevin Samuels does, but I still think that's just a part of the conversation, though. That's just one part of it. That's not the whole picture. That's one part of it.
Okay. Well, we're going to revisit some more of this, man. Look, Semper Fidelis, he over there in Norway.
Yeah.
Got him a fine woman in Norway.
I'm in Finland, man. I'm in Finland.
He over there.
Norway is nice, but I'm in Finland.
With the Vikings over there, and he's cool, and he's calm, and he's escaped. Bro, I think that this is such a shock to these lovely ladies, because I guess over the past 10 years, I mean, there hasn't been this conversation. Like in 50 years, they had, name the shows they had. They had Waiting to Exhale. They had Oprah. What else did they have? They had the Color Purple. They had all this propaganda saying it's the man's fault. And they had all this other propaganda saying, go queen, you're the beautiful woman. And brothers didn't say nothing about it. We didn't say,
but again, they weren't held accountable for their actions or their behavior.
Mm-hmm.
They have not been held accountable for their actions.
So I'm gonna go to thanks, twin. I'm gonna go to Simplify. I want Simplify Dallas to answer this question. What do we do now, man, to bring these lovely ladies back to reality? How do we do that?
The fact of the matter is this: it's standards, and you got to live by those standards. Okay.
How dare you raise your standards now? How dare you Simplify Dallas?
Well, I'll put it this way. I'm gonna tell you why. I'm gonna tell you why. Because I saw a reflection of the standards of my parents growing up. Okay, I was born in '63. Okay, I'm an old head up here with some of the other old heads up here.
You ain't that old. You 63. You in the game. You in the game.
Okay.
How dare you raise your standards now at this late date?
Well, wait a minute. I married my Thin Lizzy over here in Finland. You hear what I'm saying?
I know you did. You ran off and got you a fine white Finnish woman over there.
But wait,
left us over here. Go ahead.
But Attorney Sterling, this is what I'm trying to tell you. Okay, when I grew up, okay, the image that I have of my mother, okay, she was a corrections officer. Okay, so that means she had to be in shape. She got that rigorous training and stuff, right? Now, my mother is all of 5 feet 4 inches tall. Okay, she was thin. She wore natural. My father, he's all of 5 feet 10 inches tall. He was thin. He wore shorter natural. Okay, this is what I saw as a child. You understand? And I think that's the reason why I married a woman who was smaller and thinner than me, that I found attractive. And we raised 2 children together. Okay. My children are 28 and 30 years old, respectively. And I'm going to say this. You may not like to hear it, but I'm glad I raised my children with my wife over here. You hear what I'm saying to you?
No, brother, I appreciate you. I respect you. I appreciate what you're doing. We all I'm trying to do is, see, the thing is, realistically, and I travel overseas all the time, but realistically, about 80% of the black men in the United States will not be able to do that. They just won't be. Matter of fact, if all you brothers start leaving, they'll change the law to keep y'all here. I promise. If you all you black men decided, if all you brothers began to leave, they would change the law to try to keep you here. And so what I'm telling you, it's just not a realistic thing for us to be able to do. So the vast majority of black men are going to be here in America. So what I'm telling you guys to do is stand toe to toe with your adversary, these lovely ladies, and begin to speak the truth. Don't make the mistake of the babyface generation and the temptation generation, lying to these women, knowing that y'all just trying to smash. You see what I'm saying? And then, because all that does is it messes with their expectations. If we had begun to speak the truth and speak honestly, a long time and deal with the fallout of it, or if the people that came before us did that, we wouldn't have to deal with that. But unfortunately, you're not responsible for how you got here, but you are responsible for getting yourself out of it. So I take that upon myself, and that's why, I call this Dennis Sperling Unfiltered. But Semper Fidelis, go ahead, and we're going to go to Rakim and Savant 88 and Black Uru. If you guys appreciate what we're doing here, please contribute to the Super Chat, the Cash App, and the PayPal. But go ahead, Semper Fidelis.
Okay, but the thing about it is this. I didn't come over here to Finland to escape from black women and to escape from America.
Yes, sir.
I was a Marine security guard when I came over here. I was on embassy duty. So that's why I came over here. And so during that year and a half that I was serving, on embassy duty, I met the woman that I've been married to now.
Look, bro, I'm happy for you. Look, let me tell you something. I'm happy for you. We on this page, I'm just happy to see my thing is, man, I just want my black brothers to be happy no matter where you are, whatever color woman you marry. Because see, the thing is, when you're angry, you make my life hard. You make my children's life hard. Because if angry brothers out there, they don't take their anger out on women or people from the other race. They take it out on other black men. So as long as you're happy, I'm happy, bro. That's kind of where I come from. So thank you so much. I appreciate it, man. All you brothers doing your thing, overseas, whatever, do that, man. I ain't tripping on it. Because your children going to be black anyway. That's all out. Anyway, so you're going to be fine. And there's always 2 billion Africans on this planet anyway. We're not going anywhere. We'll be here. We've been here before time. We'll be here after everybody else is gone or reabsorbed into the melanated society. But the bottom line is, man, you happy, I'm happy. But as far as this situation right here, Rakim, as far as this situation right here in America, what we need to do, I think, and tell me I'm wrong, is we need to go ahead and stand toe to toe with these lovely ladies, not back down, and keep telling them the truth. What are your thoughts on that, Rakim? Or am I asking for trouble? Go ahead.
Well, I agree 100%. See, you may be asking for trouble, but we got to get ready to bring the trouble right back, because a lot of brothers, at first and foremost, not only standing toe to toe with the sisters, but we got to clean house and get some of these cowardly simp brothers out of here as well, because we're not addressing them enough. Because a lot of them are profiting off of, like you said, we're not going to say no names, but a lot of them are profiting off of women's delusion. They're profiting off of, pretty much these women's dysfunctional behavior. And see, they look at us as much as a threat as the sisters look at us as a threat.
So who do we deal with first? Do we deal with the simp protectors, or we go take it straight to the ladies when we start speaking the truth about what we want as black men and what we demand as men in general?
I say we send a message to the ladies, and then we go directly for the simp brothers, because they they more of a threat right now than, well, it's about equal. But
and what do we tell these simp brothers who keep lying to these women? Tell girl, you a queen, girl, because they get on. We see them on CNN. Where else we see? We see them on the Fox. What is it called? Fox Love. What is that called? Fox something or another.
Fox
Internet.
Fox Soul.
We see them on Fox Soul. Of course they write in the Grio. How do we? I mean, what do we do when we see? Because like this was written by a lovely lady. This article. But it's oftentimes the next person they're gonna send is gonna be some dudes, and they're gonna call it. Let me tell you what this is what they attack Mr. Samuel's masculinity, and then they call him a white supremacist racist. The next thing they're gonna do is they're gonna try and dig somebody up and have something bad to say about them. And if that don't work, they're gonna try something else. You see what I'm saying? But what do we have to do when we see the next round? And that's gonna be probably some dude. They're gonna pull some simp white knight up out of nowhere. And I'm thinking probably a religious leader or somebody we respect, like an actor or somebody like that. And he's gonna get on here and try to attack Kevin Samuels and say all the reasons why he's a mean, nasty potty mouth. What do we do as men when we see that happen? What's going to be our response, in your opinion?
Well, man, we need to step up and stand up together and move in on him in full force. Period. Point blank. You know, and it's also important for us as men to understand that we have to, even if the sisters are not on the board, we have to control our own opportunities for us. We have to be able to create, situations for us to be able to thrive and prosper. And we got to focus. See, the women don't want to relinquish power or control. That's what it's all about. They don't want to relinquish power or control. They've adopted the mentality of white supremacists as far as thinking that they are more superior than their own men. And brothers got to stop. Brothers got to stop being cowardly. We got to stop trying to make a logic out of this dysfunctional, disillusional behavior. And we just got.
I'm gonna ask you this, and you tell me why is it that Black American men are so beholden to women? Why is it that we hold women up on in high regard? Why is it that we idolize these lovely ladies like this? I mean, why is it that the Black woman can do no wrong? Why is that? Why do we are like that in the rest of the brothers? You brothers who travel around the world, you know that. They ain't like that in other cases. They treat women like, okay, I'm not gonna put you up on a pedestal just because of your sex organs. Why is it that we do that? I'm gonna ask Savant that. Savant 88, why is it that we idolize women so much in the Black American community? Tell me, Savant 88. Savant 88, are you there? Savant 88, can you hear me? Oh, I guess we lost Savant 88. Man, that's unfortunate. Black Uru, how you doing?
Hey, how you do, Dennis? Thanks for having me up.
No problem, man. It's always good to have you in here. Why do we idolize these lovely ladies so much? Why is it that we're afraid to tell them the truth because we don't want to hurt their feelings? I need to know. You tell me.
I think it's a combination of things, Dennis. I do think there is a slightly matriarchal genetic disposition amongst us. That's
explain that.
Well, I mean, and maybe it's our African heritage, or combined with how specifically we were bred in the United States. I mean, we were essentially bred to be compliant to women in this country from the beginning, or at least, going back to when they start to bring African.
We got somebody named Christina. Hold on, Christina. Sure. What planet do you MFs live on? Because women are not idolized at all. I want you to take a trip to South America and show you, and I want you to see how Black women are treated in Brazil. Matter of fact, I want you to go to South Africa, and see how Black women are treated there. Matter of fact, go to China and see how Asian or Chinese women are treated in Asia. Go to Russia and see how Russian women are treated by Russian men. And then you'll understand how privileged you are, Miss Christina Nelson. Now, that said, you need to ease on up there and get some of this because you got a lot to say. So come on in. I want you to come on in, Christina. Wrench Mob, if she ain't in here in 5 minutes, y'all put her in the timeout. But Christina, you have to have a healthy understanding of history and the current state of society in different countries to be involved in this conversation. Women around the world are not treated as privileged as you are treated in this country. That's the whole point. You are, in matter of fact, in the Black community, You lovely ladies are treated far better than any other group of black women on the planet, and it's not because you've earned it. Largely it's because they're raised, our young black men are raised by women, and they're taught that their mommies can do no wrong, and that it doesn't matter if you, what up, little man? What's happening? Look at little man up there. I see you, man. What you doing out there? You supposed to be in school. That's what you supposed to be doing, man. But anyway, so you're privileged, sister, and you got to accept that. You know what I'm saying? Why the lovely ladies don't never come in here and talk to me, man? Anyway, but don't worry about it. Sorry about that, Black Uru, man.
No.
Yeah,
I want to, if you don't mind, I want to speak on that privilege thing.
Go ahead.
Black women in this country basically judge themselves based on what they think is the standard of living of upper class and upper middle class white women.
White women.
Because those are essentially the only women on this planet who live a higher quality of life than black women do. All other women throughout the globe live a lower socio-economic status than your African American or ADOS female.
Hold on. Women are abused and objectified, even still on. Yes, that's what I'm saying. In those other countries, they will give you real abuse and objectification. Go to China. Look at Russia. Look at abuse in Russia. That's what I want you to see. You think black men are bad? You don't want no parts of them Russians. You don't want no parts of those Chinese men, Southern. Matter of fact, there's nowhere in the world that you can go and not get a real dose of what women have to deal with as far as abuse and objectification and all that. You have no rights in Saudi Arabia. Matter of fact, you can't even drive over there. So you need to be privileged. What I need you to do, my lovely lady, is take a trip and see how you see. There was some ladies who went over to, I forget what island it was, or some South Pacific. They went over there and they just thought they could say whatever they wanted to on the internet. And then they end up getting booted out the country, and they would have got caned or put in jail, but because of their American citizens. So sweetness, I want you to come in here. We're very respectful. Women are abused. You're following a trope. You're the least abused, objectified women on the planet. You're comparing yourself to standards that don't exist. Let's see what else you got to say. We live here. You can't use those places as an example. Yes, I can, because it's men here in America that set up those rules and regulations that provide you the opportunity to be the least abused and misrepresented. It really don't get any better than this. You know, that's it. And so you be happy with what you have right now. And stop complaining, because see, now brothers at the point where, you know what? Nah, we're not going any further. Matter of fact, we're going to raise our standards for you, Miss Christina Nelson, and you're going to have to do more. And y'all not going to like it. And the truth is, because men have the power, there's nothing you can do about it but take it. And that probably makes you mad too. But anyway, Black Guru, go ahead. We'll hope if Christina don't come in here in another 4 minutes, man, y'all give it a boot. But either way, contribute to the Super Chat, the Cash App, and the PayPal. Christina, this is for you. Don't you play with me. You better come on over here and get some of this. You got a lot to say. We got us a hot, spicy young lady who got a lot to say. I want you to come on in here and get this. You want to talk to a bunch of men, you're going to get a chance to. Black Guru, what else you got to say?
Well, I mean, even though you don't have to leave the country to actually see women or to know women are dealt with differently. I mean, you know, there are things that are going on in within communities in the United States that we don't necessarily see or hear about, but they're happening.
You mean like Little Cuba, where they got more black,
Chinatown, Little Korea? You know, some of these Middle Eastern communities.
Let me tell you something.
Women are being handled in ways in which black women would feel very privileged.
Yeah. Poppy is not taking no back talk, but go ahead.
Not at all. Not at all. But back to your original question, yeah, I do think there's a genetic, or I think partly why we're differential to them is a function of our breeding combined with, or what was reinforced by our socialization, which began in slavery, but then continued on from that point where there was a more of a deference to the mother figure or matriarchal figure in whatever family, and I think it's just been sort of perpetuated.
Basically, you're saying this is one of the last vestiges of slavery, and this is something
I believe so. Yes,
we always talk about. We need to escape from slavery, so this is something that we owe ourselves, brother. In order to get rid of the last vestiges of chattel slavery, we need to go ahead and take our manhood back And that means what basically what Black Uru is saying is you need to begin to speak up for yourself, speak the truth, and be men. Is that what you're saying, Black Uru?
Yes. And on the point of dealing with other men, I do think actually we will have to deal with the men first and more aggressively, because the women have no power, no right, no privilege in this country that is not backed by the word, the fist, and the guns of men. They have no privilege that is not enforced by men. So ultimately, the men will have to be dealt with, even more so and much more aggressively than the women. Because how do we deal with
these preachers, Black Uru? How do we deal with these preachers who are lying to these women? How do we deal with these so-called Black conscious?
I believe we will have to deal with them.
How do we deal with these online? How do we deal with these online dudes who are lying to these women? What do we do? Go ahead, and then we're gonna go to
I believe we must use everything within the law in the most aggressive fashion possible to confront and deal with all of the charlatans, with all of the liars, with all of the propagandists. We can't just allow them to continue to do what they've done. Because again, like I say, what empowers the women, what enables the women to continue to do what they do is the power of men backing them. So you're going to have to take down the men first. And not just within our community. At some point, and this is where it'll get really dicey, you're going to have to take on the broader majority culture and system that of the men that backs the status quo as well. Because the woman that you were referencing to earlier, that's backed, sponsored, probably paid for by men, Black men, white men, etc. All this stuff, whether it's the law, the courts, the media, all this stuff.
Hold on, Christina said, y'all can't establish dominance among other races of men, conquer the white man first. No, we're going to take care of home first, baby. That's how that works. Why would I go outside when my home is this in order? We're going to get the house straight first. And then when the house is in order, then we're going to go out, because we can't do nothing outside the house and come home to all that hell and hellfire that we got to deal with at the house. So you going to get this medicine first, Christina. I know you mad about it. Let you go. I can't do that. No. We followed your advice for long enough. It's not going to have a blessed little heart. Baby, I got to answer for everything that you're going to say. You need to go on, come back up in here and get this smoke. Somebody get rid of Christina. Get on up out of here. Put her in time. Don't block her. Just put her in time out. But anyway, thank you, Black Moon. Savant 88, man, tell me I'm wrong. Tell me that I need to put more love in my heart. That's what I need. I need more love in my heart. Come on, man. Tell me what's wrong. Go ahead.
Uncle D, I think what we're really doing. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Yes, sir. Go
okay.
ahead.
I think when it came to the question earlier, based upon overweightness, and I'm gonna also address what the brother was just mentioning before me. When it comes to health and you being in an optimal state in those other countries, that determines whether or not the country.
Y'all be respectful to Christina. I don't want y'all talking about that young lady. That's not nice. Don't say mean. Don't say mean. Hold on a minute. Don't say mean things about the sister. I'm just playing with her. She's a beautiful young lady. Don't say mean. I don't like mean comments about the lady. All right, don't do that. That's not kind. We just having a spirited debate, but we want to always be respectful. So we don't want to say that. No mean statements. Go ahead, Savant. I apologize.
Like I was saying, the condition of someone being in a state of good health in other countries determines how successful that country is. Because if you're not in a good optimal state of health, the goods and services, whether they be limited, whether you live in an oligarchy, a monarchy, even if you work in a third world country where the majority of your income is generated by farming and agriculture, if you're not in a good state of health, then the country dwindles. But in America, that type of logic or that philosophy doesn't necessarily apply to women, especially Black women, because there's always an alternative route where they can generate resources, income, and etc. So on what do we need to do? I feel as if that we need to have Black men, especially represented in the various avenues of what makes this country go around, and we need to value that as a collective. for example, this young lady that's making these comments, she doesn't understand the fact that yes, we live in America where we have the freedom to choose, we have the freedom of choice, and as a result of that, we've not told our women to choose wisely. So, for example, I remember a show you had a while ago. I made some comments about, you were talking about the athletes and the attorneys. When you sit down and you generate the math, and this is why I didn't pursue athletics. When I broke down the various entities of how that money is split up, I was like, shoot, I might as well go to grad school to law school. So as a result of that, this young lady doesn't understand, if she meets a guy on the street that wants to pursue a career in IT, she will turn her nose up at him, and then she would probably pursue a guy that's in entertainment. Nothing wrong with entertainment, but
so that's what you mean by lost. Is that what you meant by lost opportunities?
Yes.
Okay.
When she comes home, this very avenue that we're conducting form of discourse is affiliated with IT and tech. So on one hand, how can you say that brother's corny, but on the other hand, you use the very thing that you call him corny by Instagram, Facebook, social media. So it's like we don't have a concept of what really makes this world go around, and it's reflective in our community. So we need those brothers within the avenues that are creating the apps, that's creating the system. But we also need
they need to be rewarded with good women too, and they shouldn't have.
So my question to you is, Brother D, if women are so consumed by media, which one of their sons or their children are they going to send to film school?
That's a good. I don't know, brother. Good question. That'd be something we address
So
another time.
I'm gonna just say this. This is my final comment. I hate it when women say, "Well, it's in the media." Are they really saying that they don't have the capacity to really sit down and break things down and think for themselves? That I imitate what I see. It's like, isn't that what children do to a certain extent?
Good point, brother. Well, look, man, thank you so much. And I want to get Black Love and then last saying in here. I put Afro Patriarch. Hey, bro, look, I just left it because we only got a limit of so many people we can let in at a time. But Afro Patriarch, he's still in here. So Black Love, thank you for the time you spent waiting here. What are your thoughts on this conversation? And those of you who appreciate this conversation, please hit the like button, hit the thumbs up button. We got all these down thumbs and whatnot. People are angry about what's being said today, but this is just black men talking about what they like, you know? Last Saint, man, what are your thoughts on this conversation, brother? Unmute yourself.
Oh, yeah. What's up? So, yeah, I think it's pretty wild, especially seeing that woman's comments, too. You know, I mean, I've heard things about it, but, you know, just to blatantly see something like that is crazy, especially with all the misdirection in the media and whatnot, especially with the, you know, the woman enablers, you know, the liars, you know, like it's crazy. We just saw them get exposed and yet they're still back at it.
Hey, you know what? You sound like you're a young brother. I mean, I asked the other brothers, how do you feel about you having inherited this war of foolishness? You know, I mean, it's like you can't even tell these lovely ladies the truth without them, you know, coming up with articles and stuff to blast you and call you a racist and all kinds of stuff like that, man. But you got to turn that sound off in the background, Last Saint. I can hear your YouTube in the background or whatever that is. But what do you think about this, man? What is your generation gonna do about this, man? What are you gonna do, man? I can't help you. I can't. Me and the rest, we out. What you gonna do? We got kids. What you gonna do, man? You gonna get your big girl?
I tell you what you do, man.
Big, solid, strong, wide back woman that's about 220 pounds. Y'all lifting weights together at the LA. What are you gonna do, man? I need to know, man.
Man, just do what I'm doing, man. I'm learning all the information. I'm retaining.
No, you can't get off that easy. No. You can't get off that easy. See, your options are, what they said was, you're going to take one of us whether you like it or not. Don't matter if she got 2 kids, 3 kids. Doesn't matter if she weighs as much as you. You know how they got that big extra meat right there when they get big and then had that operation and then you still see that meat.
Oh, the slab of meat.
You got to take one of them. Basically, that's what they saying. That's what they saying you got to do, Last Saint. You got to take one of them. And you better not complain about it. You better not speak the truth. and say you got a weight limit. How dare you? We are queen goddess mothers. You see what I'm saying? So how are you gonna deal with that? Because this is what you're inheriting, Last Saint.
Look, man, I'm putting everybody on the diet if that's the case. I'm gonna lie, I'm gonna tell lies, do all that. You know, I'm gonna say
Then
I love you the way you are, and then put you on the
they're
pill.
gonna call you a toxic masculinitist. Is that the word? You're gonna be toxic masculinitist. And what else are they gonna say? They're gonna misogynoir. This is what they're gonna say to you. How you gonna deal with that, young brother? You gonna because see the people that came before me, there's like, yeah, baby, you a queen mother goddess, baby. Those are European centric standards of beauty. And those men don't know what they're talking about. I take you. Are you gonna do that? Or are you gonna stand up for yourself? Because you're gonna be by yourself. I promise. You're gonna be like Kevin Samuels. They're gonna be coming after you. You start speaking, stand. How you gonna deal with that pressure?
Man, you just gonna have to retaliate even harder. I mean, the truth wins in the end. I mean, you know, it may be delayed pain. You know, you might have to take it on the chin for a few days, a few weeks, but you know, the truth works in the way. Because I'm not about to accept all that. Hell no, I'm 21. You know, I'm 6'4". Yeah. You know, I can't deal with all that. Let the fools deal with them.
I love this young generation of black men because they are not like us. They are brave. They're courageous. They're different. They speak their minds, and I'm so proud of them. And I hope that we have more young men like the Last Saint who will speak the truth. Because see, the truth, when you speak the truth, you know, there's freedom. So that's why it says, you know, the truth shall set you free. And if you stand on that, Last Saint, and you begin to speak the truth, not just in relationships, but then also begin to speak the truth in the world that you live in, calling out things honestly. You know, stop bowing your head and yes, somehow stop being like some of us before us just to play the game, going along to get along. Then you'll be better off than we were. And I thank my Generation X brothers, because it seems like we the first ones, because you had the baby boom, you had the great generation. Nobody said anything, but it wasn't until us, the X generation, and I think the reason it started is because many of us were raised by single mothers, and we saw their falsehoods, we saw their shortcomings, we saw their imperfections. And so now you trying to tell us what we see as grown men is not the same thing we saw as children. We're like, oh, hell no. So this is, I think, why Kevin Samuels was different than many others and why his motivation is different in that he's willing to speak the truth because it is what it is. And, you know, he don't really care what you think. When you reach the age of 50, after you reach 40, you stop caring. By the time you reach 50, you really don't give. You don't have no F's to give at all. And remember, this is the generation that created hip hop. We are the ones that started speaking. So it's only natural that when we got to this point, we would. Man, kudos to you, Last Saint, man. Keep up the good work. Troy M, man, look. Troy, unmute yourself. Troy, what's happening, Troy? Unmute yourself. All right, Troy, are you there? Hello, Troy, are you there?
I'm still here, Dennis.
All right, man. So look, man, you the last one up. All right, we've been talking for a long time. And you know, I appreciate everybody's voice. What advice do you have for us moving forward as black men when we get these attacks on black men who speak the truth and speak on our behalf? What is your advice for us?
Well, obviously you can't wilt under pressure. You have to continue to push. The truth is, as they mentioned, the truth is the truth. I mean, we have to support the men that are on the front line. As with any army, with any form of attack, there are people on the front line. There's people that are in reserve, and we have to, like people like you, we have to continue to support your channel, support Kevin's channel, as you mentioned, Momo Obsidian, O'Shea Du Jackson, other people I'm saying, and our other YouTube brother here, I forgot his name, but yeah, we have to continue to do that because it really is the only thing we can do at this point. Like you mentioned, black men have been taken on the chin for about 40 years now, and it's like, and it's over. When you have stats indicate like 51% of like young black men indicate that they won't date within their race. It's getting to a point right now where the truth has to be said and it has to be repeated and it has to continue to be reinforced. Because that's really the only thing that can happen. Yes, you're gonna get angry young women like the young lady that kept sending those chats, but you know what I'm saying. But What are you gonna do? You know what I'm saying? You can't continue to basically endorse illusions.
Man, I appreciate that. Look, let me tell you guys something. Shout out to everybody on the panel. Things are changing. Black men have been able to speak up for themselves. And y'all lucky that we still talking to you. Because see, it's people like this young brother right here, Last Saint, and some of these other young brothers. Not only are they not talking, they just walking. They're speaking with their feet. They're not having anything to do with you lovely ladies. And why? Because they don't find you to be, first of all, you're not willing to compete with them or compete for them like these other women. And so because of that, they have options. They go to integrated schools, they go to clubs and mixed social events where there are other women from other ethnicities that treat them differently. All Kevin Samuels is trying to do is get you ladies to realize that you have to compete for Black men, something you've never had to do before. And you can scream and you can holler about how this is white standards of beauty and the white man this and the white man that. But at the end of the day, this is just crushing to your ego. You've been lied to. I know plenty of Black men who lie to Black women just to get whatever they can get out of them. I'm sorry. I apologize for them. But that's okay. Now you got to put your big girl drawers on and you got to recognize that this is where we are right now. Where we are right now is a damn reckoning. Black men have a voice. We have the internet. We got Facebook, social media, Twitter. We got YouTube. We got all these different mechanisms where we've been comparing notes. On top of that, Black men are exercising their options. They have something called the Black Man Option. They got something else called SYSBM, where Black men are flying overseas. They're flying to East Africa, West Africa, South America, Central America, the Caribbean, Norway, Finland, like my man here. And they are basically seeing what their options are, and they like what they see. So ladies, you are going to have to compete, especially if you want a high value man. And I'm not sure of all the criteria that Kevin Samuels has, because but I know that these are men who are well off, who are established, who have friends, who have social contacts. And if you want a man like that, you can't come and be average or be regular and have all these different things holding you back. And you want this man to put you in his nice Rolls Royce or put you on that other seat in the private jet. You don't qualify, as Mr. Samuel says. And you shouldn't get your little feelings hurt because he's telling you that. It's just the damn truth. I get it. You've been lied to, ladies. I'm sorry. It was a lot of simps. It's a lot of preachers. It's a lot of hotep type dudes that lie to you and make you feel, but they just been lying to you. And so now the truth is coming in and you feel like a victim because people are telling you of what they want. And I'm sorry about that. I apologize on behalf of those brothers who was lying to you. But now you got a group of men who are willing to tell you the truth. And you should just go ahead and accept the truth for what it is. Heal up, get yourself together, and do what you have to do. And if you can't save yourself, sisters, focus on these younger sisters. And you got folks like Kevin Samuels who are educating these young women so they don't make the same mistakes that you made. All he's doing, he is the uncle, he is the father, that he is the godfather that you didn't have when you were growing up. And all he's trying to do is educate these young women so they don't make the same mistake that you did. So y'all keep y'all little hit pieces. If nothing's gonna happen, you see what happened here. We jumped on you like a lean tick on a sick kitten as soon as that article came out. All these Black men are supporting Kevin Samuels, and that means something. That means he's on the right page. So it doesn't matter if you don't like it. It's the truth. Deal with it. Anyway, shout out to everybody who contributed to the Super Chat, the Cash App, and the PayPal, man. Shout out to my whole family. You guys are awesome. God bless y'all, man. And, as I always said this time, is Uncle D, and I'm a...